Um, what did we want to call the stream?
I just wrote mommy to
Emergency
Red.
stream. Emergency PBD emergency podcast.
It's an emergency podcast. It's just, it would be so funny to have something titled emergency after we are just like, we don't care.
That's honestly such a funny title. I'm fucking hilarious. Okay, so let's see if it actually went on to the Twitch. Oh yeah, it did. Can you see it?
I need to look. I don't have it open.
Everyone's gonna be like super serial, and I'm just making memes on titles.
Iran bombs Erythio bombs America.
Uh, um,
Yeah, fuck
um,
it.
um, I needed something funny for the YouTube. Um, 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 uh, Iran begs for more.
You want
Last
more? Your knuckle
in
sandwich?
America,
Oh, hang on, I gotta mute this tab.
for little
Boom.
president drops big bomber on Iraq as well.
America bad.
Fuck it.
Did you know?
Uh, Screw it. We going to war, baby. No Congress needed. That'll work.
Yeah, who are those people? Who do they think they are telling us what
Yeah,
we
who the fuck
can
is
and can't
Congress?
do?
Who the fuck does Congress think they are?
Hell yeah.
Let us summarize and review where we are so far in the story. So there are three major.
Is this an actual lecture?
Yeah, but like, go when there's a bunch. Further,
Democracy.
further. He's got to be running out of
The quick
space on the
the
board.
worst thing is hubris. American leadership, military leadership, has been expanding the war in Vietnam without public knowledge. Okay, this is what we call.
This
mission
is a
creep.
golden video, bro. There's any point you can go in this video, and it's
So
fucking
maybe at
glorious.
first they sent some observers to the country, then they sent some advisors and trainers,
Oh, I thought he had a bow tie. It's a microphone.
Yeah.
then soldiers. Okay, so mission creep. Slowly over time, things escalate, and you don't really understand why things escalate, but they do. Okay.
Bro, so
Second
you want to
point
see a
is
really
that
stupid tweet?
You want to see a dead body?
I actually sent it to you on Twitter.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. But it's from anonymous. Whoever
Let me
can pull it
adjust
up
my
first
titties.
wins.
Oh, the anonymous one. I did see the anonymous post. I think I read it. I can't remember exactly what it said. Do I look huge?
5 million people. Okay, you're gonna love this shit. You tell
5 million
me
people.
you tell me this page is not a fucking psyop, okay? So we're gonna ignore everything up here, right? Forget that. What we want is down here, is the follow-up tweet. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now the bad news, the material Iran had could fit in a car. If they were in time to, they could build a series of dirty bombs, which would be magnitudes worse than a nuke.
Magnitudes. How many magnitudes? I want to know. That's like everyone knows that this guy, like this account isn't anonymous. Like anonymous is a decentralized network of like random people who
Check this
just
out.
like anybody can
Remember
claim to
this
be
one?
anonymous.
Remember this one?
Is that the Iraq war justification?
Yeah, yeah. You see, the biological labs, the reason we can't find them, they're on the trucks, bro.
Uh-huh. It all makes sense now.
They
They're
took this.
always in
This is what
trucks.
they. This is from the UN
Amazing.
presentation.
Truly
Come
incredible.
on, bro. You tell me that is not Fed posting. They're laying the
I mean,
seeds for them to later be at the UN to say, listen, we had to go into Iran because they're on the trucks.
you make a pretty good point. It
I
could
tend
be
to
a
do
Fed
so.
post. It could be a Fed post.
American leadership, from very early on, knew the war was unwinnable. This was the greatest military in the world. They dropped more.
Is this Ken Jeong in professor costume? What the fuck is happening? He sounds like him and looks like him.
Look, it's just an excellent made video.
bombs in Vietnam in the 60s,
Bombs.
then all bombs were dropped in World War II, okay? And they could not win the war. And the reason why is to win a war, you have to solve 3 problems, okay? Okay? The first problem
Okay.
is clear strategy, okay? What are you
Got
trying
it.
to accomplish
Strategy.
in this country?
Win the
What are
war.
your clear military objectives, okay?
Winning the war.
Second is
This is
you
them in
must
Iraq before
adapt to
Petraeus.
the
What is the objective? To
battlefield.
win?
okay? Because all
The
your
war.
best plans
Or
will
Petraeus.
change over the course of the battle. Okay? So the adversary that is most willing to adapt
Look, I'm just saying, the admin
battlefield
is
will win,
is
okay?
dumb enough.
The third thing
Maybe
is
that's
true.
the factor,
The will to
the
fight.
idiot factor.
so if you want to look
case
at
could
a
be made.
war and who's most likely to win the war, you ask
We'll
these 3
see.
questions. 1, does this guy have clear military objectives that everyone understands? Because that will determine strategy, okay? Second is this guy adapting to the battlefield? And the third is this guy, does this guy still have the will to fight? If the answer is yes, all 3 questions, then the person will most likely win the war. Okay, and if you look at the Vietnam War, even though America was killing a lot of people, it
Okay.
killed 3 million Vietnamese during
There's
the course
one
of the war.
factor.
It was not
Okay.
destroying the
Yeah.
One single factor. Okay? The will to fight.
Which is? That's the only
Like-
one you reckon?
Bro, the Zulu nearly fucking beat the British. Like the British had to reinforce all their shit because they were getting their shit pushed in by fucking Kenyans and shit. I don't know what Zulu's South Africa region, but you know what I mean.
Is it?
I don't know.
I have no idea.
It's more of the South Botswana region, I think.
Mm.
I don't know. I just know that there was Gonzo movies about it.
Yeah.
enemy's will to fight. In fact, it was making them angrier. And therefore, more people were willing to fight the Americans. Okay? So, very early on, the American political leadership knew the war could not be won. So then the question then is, why did America stay in the war? And the answer is credibility. Okay? Credibility just means they didn't want to lose face. They didn't want to be laughed at by the Chinese and by the Soviets and by the Europeans, okay? But there's actually another way to understand credibility, and it's what we call the sunk cost
Fallacy?
Fallacy.
Ah, look at me. I should be a
Have you guys
professor.
heard of the sunk cost fallacy? And the idea is never ever go into a casino.
You
Yeah, I
see
was going to
those
say, he
three
has to be
circles?
using the... He has to be
underneath his
using the
elbow.
casino example. Yeah.
If you get to the point where he draws those 3 circles, that's one of the funniest parts in the video.
Okay.
Oh, you're too far back now.
To the revolutionary corps, okay? The Revolutionary Guard. And as we discussed last, Iran Revolutionary Corps, okay? The Revolutionary Guard. And as we discussed last,
Guard.
You know what's very funny about them being called Revolutionary Guards is inherently conservative.
That they fucking suck.
You are protecting something from change through a force. You are conservative.
class, they want war with the United States because they're very angry about U.S. interference in Iran, right? So during the Shah regime, which was a brutal police state from 1953 and then
We know
1979,
this. Keep going. You got to get to when he draws.
with the United States.
Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Way
Iran
ahead.
to many democracy to protect global prosperity. In 2003,
Okay, almost
also
there.
made European oil fields, damaging the economy. It has complete control to defeat Iran in only 2 weeks.
I'm going to go back
Also,
to the start of this
So
list.
for these 5, and the last reason is violently attacking Israel. Our proxy, very,
I'm kind of
very
curious what he has to say.
hard on all the dictatorship. They want democracy. They want freedom. In response, the Revolutionary Guard are killing thousands of protesters. Iran is on the brink of civil war. Therefore, the United States has an obligation to protect the people of Iran.
Sure.
Okay? The people of Iran are praying for freedom and democracy, and the United States, the world's greatest democracy, must give them democracy. Okay? So the first reason is freedom and democracy.
Well, yeah, I mean, if he's talking about the justifications
Second,
for America's war, then
U.S.
sure.
intelligence, along with Israeli intelligence, have discovered that for the past 2 years, Iran has been working very, very hard on developing a nuclear bomb. In fact, Iran is only 1 month away from having 3 nuclear bombs.
Okay. Did we watch that video where it was just endless people saying, well, it was just endless clips of Netanyahu saying
I mean,
Iran is
yeah,
months away from a
everyone
bomb?
shows that clip.
Yeah.
My favorite is
but
just
it's
the
like,
Looney Tunes chart. I think the Looney Tunes chart meme is funnier.
it is quite funny.
Like you don't need to need to fucking show the video. Everyone knows.
So that New York City, San Francisco, and Los Angeles could all be destroyed. Okay? So to prevent this, we must strike first to stop Iran's nuclear program. Okay? Third, Iranian proxies, the Houthis, Hezbollah, many groups have been disrupting shipping in the Middle East, in both
Isn't
the
that
Red
great?
Sea
There he
and the
is.
Strait of Hormuz. 40%
Fuck off,
of the
ad.
world's oil passes through that region, mainly to East Asia, China, Japan, South Korea. Our global prosperity is at stake. We must go to war to protect these shipping lanes and ensure that the oil goes to China, Japan, and South Korea so that they can continue their economic prosperity. So the United States, as the world hegemon, has a responsibility to protect global prosperity. Okay? 4, Iran has been launching attacks against our allies, Saudi Arabia and Israel. Hezbollah has been violently attacking Israel, killing dozens of Israelis, innocent Israelis. The Houthis have been attacking Saudi Arabia oil fields, damaging the economy. We have an obligation to protect our allies, our friends in the Middle
Oh
East.
shit,
Okay?
the economy.
Not the economy.
And the last reason is we know for a fact that the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps is a sponsor of terrorism. Last week, in a mall, there were gunmen who went and killed 107 people. Our intelligence says that it was most definitely an Iranian operation. Okay? So for these 5 reasons, we have decided to invade Iran. But don't worry, this invasion will be successful because we have a lot of allies. The UK, Israel, Saudi Arabia, all friends will be part of this operation. Our special forces are already in the country looking for their air bases and their missiles. We can knock them out at the beginning of the war. Also, we have been in contact with Iranian opposition groups. They want to overthrow the regime. And when we help them, they will install democracy in the country. Our American military is the greatest in the world. In 1991, our military defeated Saddam Hussein in 100 hours. In 2003, our military defeated Saddam Hussein in less than 3 weeks. To prove that we are the greatest in the world, we will defeat Iran in only 2 weeks. So do not worry. We will be strong in protecting democracy, freedom, and global prosperity. Okay? So that's what Donald Trump will say to the people of the United States. Okay?
Right.
And of course, you're going to have
has he
large-scale
addressed
protests
the,
throughout the country opposing this.
Yeah,
war.
we can watch the
But
press
most
conference.
people in the country
perfect.
will support this war. Okay? All right. So at this
Wrong.
speech, the operation is launched.
That's where he fucked up.
And on TV, we'll watch this on TV and the internet together, on YouTube together, okay? And we'll be so impressed by the power of the U.S. military. This is Iran. This is the Strait of Hormuz.
Oh, this is the circles.
Saudi Arabia. Israel is here. Red Sea is here. Iraq is here. Okay? So, in the Strait of Hormuz come the USS
That's a lot of
Gerald
circles.
R. Ford. It's a $13 billion super carrier. Okay? This thing is designed to destroy countries. It is now.
Is this his map? That's his map
Oh,
of the
stepped
region.
into mine.
That's
Yeah.
his map
He's
of
just
the
doing a
region.
circle map.
That's
It's fine.
amazing.
Circle maps are okay.
Prowling the Strait of Hormuz to ensure that shipping is safe. America establishes air supremacy very quickly, okay? Meaning that it has complete control over the skies. Nothing can move in the skies without America detection, okay? And then a massive invasion force is sent to Iran in the south. 100,000 US troops land, maybe 200,000 Saudi Arabia troops land, okay? Maybe you have 200,000 to 500,000 troops in Iran. And they are about to strike Tehran in the north, okay? So in the south, the United States and its allies have established a foothold. They have a huge presence in the country, and they're about to attack Tehran, okay? All right, do you understand what has happened? Okay, now I want to ask you this question. At this point, I think the war has been decided. Who has won the war?
Interesting.
America has established air supremacy. It controls the skies. U.S. Navy controls the seas. You have 100,000 U.S. troops in country ready to strike Tehran. The war has been decided. Who has won the war? Okay, obviously this is a trick question. Obviously Iran has won the war. Why? Why? What's the problem with this plan? Okay, this is typical American doctrine, shock and awe. This is how they fight wars. But there's a problem with this plan. What is it? Why would the Iranians want this? Okay, let's go back to traditional military doctrine, okay? In traditional military doctrine, you have 3 principles, right? Mass forces, avoid encirclement, protect supply lines, okay? These are 3 things you must absolutely obey if you are going to war, okay? So using traditional military doctrine, explain to me why the United States has lost the war right now. Exactly. First of all, they're in circle, okay? You know why? Because Iran are all mountains. It's a fortress, okay? Meaning that to get these troops into the country, you have to airdrop them, right? But guys, once you're in the country, you can't get them out of the country. You understand? Okay, so that's the first problem. They've been encircled, right? What's the second problem? Why not?
I'm actually so interested. I'm so interested. I'm so intrigued.
Right? And why else? Yeah, that's right, okay? So they failed to mass forces, okay? Iran is a population of 90 million people. You will need at least 3 to 4 million soldiers to even think about conquering the country. They've got 100,000 in this country, okay? And as Jack says, you can't move tanks through mountains. They're not designed for mountain warfare. What are you going to do? Okay? So they can't mass forces, and they can't, and they've been encircled, and what else is the problem? And this is the biggest problem. Exactly. They cannot be resupplied, okay? They have no supply lines. For them to be resupplied, airplanes have to drop ammunition, food, into the country. But again, Iran is all mountains. So it's very easy for Iranians to shoot down the airplanes. Does that make sense? When you pass through mountains, you can't see what's on the ground. A random guy with a rocket launcher can just shoot down the helicopter, okay? Which is what the Afghans did against the Soviets in the Afghanistan war. And that's why the Soviets lost the war. A drone can take out any airplane, okay? So, in other words,
It's true.
these guys are trapped. You think they're soldiers, but they're not. What they really are, hostages.
The Soviets didn't necessarily lose the Afghan war. Their nation was collapsing.
Yeah, it's a little more complicated than that. It is a little simplistic. It definitely didn't help them.
Does that make sense? You have
You know, the what was the valley that they got fucked up in the north?
Panjshir.
Yeah, like that definitely hit them in the morale. Like that, there's no way they came out of that feeling good about themselves.
too many people in the country, so you can't get them out of the
Well,
country. But you don't
when
have
they
enough
pulled
people to
out
actually
of
launch a strike against Iraq.
Afghanistan, they
You can't
massacred
resupply
those
them.
people.
And they've been encircled
Yeah.
by Iranian forces. All right? Does that make sense? Okay? Okay. Now, the logic of having 100,000 US troops in the country is that once in the country, all the resistance to the regime will rise up and strike against Tehran. The Iranian army will mutiny against the country. Okay? That's the hope. Why do we think this won't happen? Why won't the Iranians revolt against their government? Why don't they want to revolt? That's right. Okay, so Iranians hate Americans. Okay, remember that Iranians remember
they don't.
the Shah. From 1953 until 1979, the
You
Shah,
see?
the American-supported Shah, was running a brutal police state. So brutal that everyone in
Bro,
Iran
they're teaching
revolted
this.
against the regime.
Yeah, that is pretty crazy.
Okay, that's number one. Why else would the Iranians not support the Americans?
Bro, use the internet.
Why? That's the first reason. Iran has a bad history with America. Why else?
They won't accept American occupation, but we have Iraq.
Yeah, like that's a very different discussion. Like accepting occupation versus
Like if America's gonna launch operations into Iraq, they'll do fucking CIA shit inside inside Iran. They'll do CIA shit in Iraq like they always have.
yeah.
Guys, which country's next door? What happened in Iraq?
America.
America destroyed Iraq, right? In 2003,
Petraeus came in
2011,
and saved that
America was
country.
destroying the country. America said that it would bring freedom, democracy. It would bring prosperity. It would bring wealth. But instead, it just destroyed the country. American soldiers were running into houses every night, pointing guns at children, destroying homes, and arresting men, for no reason. Okay, Iranians saw all this.
It's fucking crazy that he's simultaneously being like America are the bad guys, while also simultaneously being like all Iranians hate America, so bombing them is justified. Like, what is happening?
On
College.
TV. They heard about all
Fucking crazy.
This is what they. How can we reach these kids? And then these kids go on to be fucking analysts, bro.
Yeah, crazy.
Look at this Hulk still alive over here.
Fuck, where's the audio?
The people of Israel, thank you. A future of prosperity that happens. His leadership today has created a pivot of history that can help lead the Middle East and beyond to a future of prosperity and peace. President Trump and I often say, peace through strength. First comes strength,
Cringe.
then comes peace. And tonight, President
Peace
Trump
through
and the
bombs.
United States
Peace
acted
through
with
war.
a lot of strength.
War is peace.
Yeah, that's
They're literally war is peacing.
that's insane. That's
red alert.
fucking crazy, man. That's Jesus fucking Christ. Unironically said that. Unfucking real. Strength is not war, you fucking Nazi fuck. What the fuck are you talking about?
Peace through
That's
strength.
unreal.
President Trump, I thank you. The people of Israel thank you. The forces of civilization thank you. God bless America. God bless Israel. And may God bless our unshakable alliance, our unbreakable faith.
Okay, I had to change the YouTube title.
Peace through bombs.
Peace through strength. Sorry, no, war is peace. Benjamin Netanyahu quoted. I don't think so. I think. I don't even know. I don't even know. Does Trump need congressional approval to do something like this?
No,
He doesn't.
bro. I don't think like most of the fucking Bush shit had congressional approval either. You can just do shit.
Okay.
What are they gonna do? Take you to court and impeach you?
Not this Congress.
We will win.
Thank you very much.
We will win.
A short time ago, the
You know
U.S.
who that
military
is?
carried out massive
Could you
precision
tell that
strikes
impression?
on the 3 key nuclear facilities
No.
in the Iranian regime, Fordow,
can't? That's so sad.
Natanz, and Esfahan. Everybody heard those names for years as they built this horribly destructive enterprise. Our objective was the destruction
How
of
many nukes
Iran's
does America have again?
nuclear enrichment capacity and a stop to the nuclear threat posed by the world's #1 state sponsor of terror. Tonight, I can report to the world
Yeah, that's
that
probably
the
right.
strikes were a spectacular military
State sponsor.
success. Iran's key nuclear enrichment
know.
facilities have been completely
Russia
and totally
and United
obliterated.
States are pretty bad.
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully he drinks himself to
Also,
death. That'll be
Pakistan
the
has
best
probably got some.
case. Well, Edie and Jake are arguing because he called his personal assistant Mac. That's funny.
Iran, the bully of the Middle East, must now make peace.
Not us, though.
If they do not, future
not
attacks will be
bullies.
far greater and a lot easier.
Everyone
For 40
loves
years,
us.
Iran has been saying death to America, death to Israel. They have been killing our people,
Thanks.
blowing off their arms, blowing off their legs with roadside bombs. That was their specialty. We lost over 1,000 people, and hundreds of thousands throughout the Middle East and around the world have died as a direct result of their hate, in particular So many were killed by their general, Qasem Soleimani.
Bro,
I
you killed him
decided
and
a
you
long
don't
time
even know
ago
his
that I
name.
would not let this happen. It will not continue. I want to thank.
Did that soundbite work?
No.
No? Have they not been working?
No.
Oh. Interesting. Let's try something.
Dropping a pin. North. 200 meters.
New mag. We've got equipment.
Plugging in my microphone might help. Now, what was that guy's name? Where is it?
Go back, rewind.
Because now it should work now. Let's go back. What did you say, Trump?
Hundreds of thousands throughout the Middle East and around the world have died as a direct result of their hate. In particular, so many were killed by their general, Qasem Soleimani. I decided a long time.
Is it working? Did it work?
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't say only.
Ago that I would not let this happen. It will not continue. I want to thank and congratulate Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu.
Who?
We worked as a team like perhaps no team has ever worked before.
Uh-huh.
And we've gone a long way to erasing this horrible threat to Israel.
Uh-huh.
I want to thank the Israeli military for the wonderful job they've done. And most importantly, I want to congratulate the great American patriots who flew those magnificent machines tonight, and all of the United States military.
Question. How are they patriotic? That doesn't make any sense. Wouldn't being patriotic mean doing something that benefits the country? But this just costs the country millions of dollars. And probably going to cost them much, 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 much more.
So we all just wiped on a jammer, and the kill cam is this guy just literally, he has all 7 artillery shells in the ring. And I just wrote, he playing with the crayon. Like we're over here trying to take down a jammer, getting squashed by a Hulk. He over here just collecting 7 crayons. And there were statics there too. As soon as you get statics, you know, unless there's a mini nuke, just put it all in.
Yeah.
On an operation the likes of which the world has not seen in many, many decades. Hopefully, we will no longer need their services in this capacity. I hope that's so. I also want to congratulate the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Dan Ray.
Also, I don't think I told you. Instead of... For whatever reason, I didn't pick a romance in Mass Effect 2. I just got busy playing the game. And the third one, I remember you said that you could hit on... I thought the British girl in the second game, the assistant. But it turns out... Yeah, but it turns out it's the other British woman in the third game that you can hit on.
Kelly, you can... Kelly in the second game, yeah, you hit on her and she feeds your fish.
Ah, it's the feeding the fish thing. Because Trainer says, I'm not going to feed your fish. Which is very funny. She's like, you can chat me up all you want, but I'm still not going to feed your fish. She just wants me for my shower.
Raisin Cain, spectacular general, and all of the brilliant military minds involved in this attack. With all of that being said, this cannot continue. There will be either peace or there will be tragedy for Iran far greater than we have witnessed over the last 8 days. Remember, there are many targets.
America has always been at war with Iran. What do you mean?
Neocons will say.
You're missing my reference here, I think.
Targets left. Tonight's was the most difficult of them all, by far, and perhaps the most lethal. But if peace does not come quickly, we will go after those other targets with precision, speed, and skill. Most of them can be taken out in a matter of minutes. There's no military in the world that could have done what we did tonight, not even close. There has never been a military that could do what took place just a little while ago. Tomorrow, General Cain, Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth will have a press conference at 8 a.m. at the Pentagon. And I want to just thank everybody, and in particular, God. I want to just say we love you, God, and we love our great military. Protect them. God bless the Middle East. God bless Israel, and God bless
duper cringe.
America. Thank you very much. Thank you.
That's it? That's... wow. Boy.
What an address, huh?
Wow. Hey, Asmongold.
Oh no, not another, you didn't post another, you are not posting another AI video, are you?
Just for context, this is the official verified account of Ayatollah Khamenei. Only the AI dub will be done by me.
When Prophet Moses led the Israelites and they
Yes!
set off,
What do you guys think the odds are that there's something in here that's AI?
that when they got close enough to be seen, the Israelites were afraid. And then some said to Moses, now we are caught. Now they will catch us. We are doomed. Moses replied, never. Such a thing will never happen. Why? Because God is with me. My Lord is with me.
Better not bomb
Never.
my shit.
Indeed, my Lord is with me.
This BB
will guide
motherfucker better not bomb my nuclear shit.
Companionship is so important. If
my
you and I
military.
can maintain
They're
this
all-
divine
That's
companionship, know that nothing, not even America, matters.
I saw a post. Somebody clipped from the dictator when he's addressing the crowd, being like, "We'll have enough nuclear material to make a bomb in 2 months, and we'll use it for peaceful means." It says Iran an hour before the 6th nuclear talks, and I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna retweet this. Then I posted a picture of him crying with a speech bubble that was like, please don't make fun of me. I love making fun of him. I have so many pictures of him crying now.
This BB motherfucker better not blow up my nuclear shit.
If there are people in the world
I'm pretty sure these are fucking AI.
with 10 times America's power, this force accompanied by God will prevail over them.
Oh my god.
This
was Look, the method
of the Iranian people.
These motherfuckers had sarin dropped on them and didn't surrender.
Iran.
Yes. Oh shit!
It's a good point. It's a really good point.
Fucking Devastator was just standing there. Like, can you imagine?
Yeah.
They also used sarin on Saddam's forces, though, I believe.
Yeah. Bit of a tit for tat. Both supplied by America, was it not?
Kind
Pretty
of.
sure. Yeah. Pretty
Yeah,
epic.
like, they sell their old weapons once they get banned.
Mm-hmm.
victory belongs to none but Allah, the mighty, the wise, and the Almighty God will surely make the Iranian nation
Jeebus.
and the truth victorious. God willing, peace be upon you, and the mercy of God, my Lord, is with me.
It's his God montage, bro. Like he.
He's a clerical leader. What do you expect?
This is. It's just. Guys, yeah, what is this here? Their nuclear scientists are gone. They have AI prompt engineers? Yeah, I guess so.
Wow.
This BB motherfucker.
The United States has officially entered Israel's war with Iran, obliterating 3 nuclear sites across the country.
Stop
and
reporting
warning
on it
there
like
will
that.
be more strikes to come. President Donald Trump today addressing America and the world, slamming Iran as the bully of the Middle East and demanding
not
it
the
makes
United
peace.
States, though.
Nine's
we're not.
Washington
We're nice. Everybody
Lauren
loves us
Tomasi
because we're super
begins
cool.
our coverage.
They say to
Tonight I
me,
can report to the
wow,
world
Donald,
that the
how are you
strikes
so
were
cool?
a spectacular
The Saudis, they love
military success.
The president who promised peace through strength tonight leading America into war.
Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely
like
and
that?
totally obliterated.
After days of uncertainty,
Sounds like a
Donald
dental
Trump
drill.
ordering
Little
American
bit.
warplanes to the Middle East to take out
Middle
3
East.
Iranian nuclear sites.
Iranian. Why does she talk like that? Gross.
Brain damage.
The
called
commander-in-chief inside the situation room as the bombs started falling at 2:30 a.m. local time in Iran. 6 American B-2 bombers dropping 12 15-ton bunker-busting munitions on their key target, Iran's Fordo nuclear fortress, a heavily guarded secret underground nuclear bunker. Some 640 kilometres away, American submarines began firing 30 Tomahawk missiles, the strikes taking out Iran's largest uranium enrichment facility, Natanz, and the Isfahan nuclear research complex.
Would have been cool to see.
Our objective was the destruction of Iran's nuclear enrichment capacity and a stop to the
Can we
nuclear
hear that
threat
again?
posed by.
What was it?
Our objective was the destruction of Iran's nuclear enrichment capacity and a stop to the nuclear threat posed by the
dentures
world's
falling out
#1
talk.
state sponsor of terror.
Israel had been
Not
pushing
us,
the
though.
US to get
We're
involved
super
in its
cool, and the
campaign
groups we
against
back are
Iran
based,
for months.
especially the ones
country
with children.
lobbying America and its president to use these very weapons against the
Everyone
Islamic
says
State's
Donald Trump, the
nuclear
child
program.
soldiers he used
The
are super
American
cool.
bunker-busting bombs thought to be the only weapon that could successfully destroy Iran's Fordo. They're a precision-guided munition designed to attack deep underground bunkers. The weapon can reach 61 meters below the surface before
Calling
exploding.
someone else a
President
bully in the
Trump
Middle
acted
East.
to deny the world's
Fucking
most
epic.
dangerous regime America has been truly
shut up,
unsurpassed.
idiots.
It has done what no other country on earth could do.
I want to thank and congratulate Prime Minister
I want to
Bibi
thank you.
Netanyahu.
Thank you for being a
We
friend.
worked as a team like perhaps no team has ever worked before.
A team condemned by the Iranian regime, which has vowed to strike back. Americans should expect greater damage and blows than ever before in history. While on the country's state TV, Mr. President, you started it, we will finish it, says this presenter, showing a map of US bases in the region.
Iran, the bully of the Middle East.
Yeah,
must
yeah,
now
go
make
for it.
peace. If they do
Go
not,
on.
future attacks will be.
Like, this is all I've been thinking is I'm just like, everyone's like, Iran's making a big show, and I'm like, okay, go for it, please. Hit American bases. Watch how fast you die. That is a mistake.
Especially when you're like a regime barely clinging to power. You know, like these people comparing it to Iraq. Like Saddam was more powerful than he ever was when we invaded.
I'm fucking losing
Internally,
it. So
that is.
I'm on the Citadel, right? Doing the little background law missions before the party. And I'm doing the one with Trainer, and she's in some game tournament, and the options are really funny. And I picked the Renegade one, and it zoomed in, went to widescreen, and just the eyes of Shepard, and was like, my shower is for winners. I fucking did not expect that. That's such a funny cut.
Be far greater and a lot easier.
Tonight, Donald Trump warning Iran against retaliation,
stairs, buddy.
while leaving the door open to future strikes.
There will be either peace or there will be tragedy for Iran.
In Washington, D.C., Lauren Tomasi, 9 News.
Hey,
Okay, let's go live.
That's the chick that got shotted.
2 Nines Washington correspondent Lauren Tomasi. Lauren, America is tonight on high alert.
Is it?
Pete, the US is right now on a war footing. There are some 40,000 US troops positioned across the Middle East, and military assets have been moved in right across that region, told to be on alert for any retaliatory strike. Donald Trump has warned Iran against hitting back, but the Islamic State is vowing to have revenge, saying America has launched a dangerous war. US officials say these next 48 hours will be critical. Tonight, this conflict in the Middle East is expanding. America is right in the middle, and the question is, how will Tehran respond?
The United States strikes have certainly added more fuel, but this was already a firestorm. The Israel-Iran conflict now entering its 10th day and a volatile new phase. This is the aftermath of Iran's latest round of strikes, delivered in the hours after America dropped its bombs, buildings in Tel Aviv blown apart, at least 10 people injured. Earlier, Israel launched its own wave of attacks on Iran, airstrikes targeting a nuclear site
I'm
at
honestly
Isfahan,
surprised
south of the
at how
capital,
much
as well as
they've hit Israel.
Yes, honestly, yes.
Like I said, I would assume that Israel they did what they kicked the hornet's nest because they really thought that there was nothing to fear.
Yes, exactly. They genuinely thought that they had nothing, and I didn't think that they had any capability to hit Israel either. But clearly, they were hiding shit. Like they've been
Which
going
means they're
hard.
hiding the nukes.
Duh. Invade,
Just like
obviously.
Saddam.
Exactly. Just fucking invade. Obviously, that's the correct option here.
We need to stop them from Saddaming themselves.
This is literally the anti-war president being anti-war. You must go to war to be anti-war. We learned that it's peace through strength and war is peace, right?
Superior firepower.
We must go to war in order to stop war. It only makes sense. What do you mean?
as Avaz in the country's west. State TV broadcasting some of the damage. Israel's defense forces releasing this footage of the operation.
So funny. I can't believe I did none of this when we did our playthrough. Fucking Zaid's at a claw machine, and he's like, what's more important than Zaid Masani not getting bested by a fucking kids game?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's just like, I was just getting through the story for the stream, you know? Like, if people really want to explore the game, they can fucking play it.
Play it themselves,
you know?
yeah. Like, honestly, game. Dude, the second playthrough of Mass Effect 3 has been so good. Honestly, the second game's still the most disappointing entry out of the three, in my opinion.
Oh, that's treasonous.
Yeah, fucking fight me. That's my opinion. This is why we're going to make a video. Let me make some controversial statements.
And claiming to have killed 3 more.
But I am almost done with this playthrough, so once we're done with that, we can start writing the script for the video.
Commanders of Iran's.
The second one has some serious mechanical flaws. So does
I
the
think
first
that's
one.
why, yeah, but like playing through the first one again, it feels, I guess maybe because it's so basic of a third-person shooter, that it kind of, because they tried to make it more third-person shooter in the second one, but didn't quite get there. I feel like that's where I don't like it so much, where the story of the second one is great, right? That's not what I'm talking
That's
about here.
the thing. It's like nobody gives a fuck about the gameplay. It's story first.
Yeah, but
and working for Cerberus and all that black site shit is like, and also like assembling the team. You upgrade the ship.
Yeah, yes, like I agree. Yes, the gameplay of the actual game itself, the story, would be better. I still prefer the first one because, and you also have to keep in mind, this is the first time I've ever played these games, right?
I think they're all so different, you know?
Yeah. But like this is because it's the first time I've played these games. I have no attachment to them, right? So I've come in fresh with no real knowledge of the games, and I didn't play them for so long because I fucking hated the first mission of the first game because of the mechanics. They sucked. But I just forced when we streamed it, I forced my way through it. Second game, I became a bit more familiar with just how the game works, and then going back through the first game, it's become not as bad because I'm used to those kind of mechanics. Because as you said, it's an RPG first more than anything else, and it's like it's really
we should
true.
play a multiplayer game.
I don't have my computer. That's the only problem.
Iran's Revolutionary Guards, the country's most powerful military force. Among the dead, Saeed Izzadi, who Israel says coordinated with Hamas to orchestrate the October 7 attacks. The IDF says his elimination marks a key point in the multi-front war, but there are fears this new front will leave others forgotten. In the past 24 hours, at least 26 people have been killed in Gaza, including Palestinians trying to reach aid supplies. Mohammed al-Dabi is 12 years...
Tanks literally fired on aid while people were waiting for it. That's what Israel did while they bombed Iran.
...old. He is starving.
They're the good guys, right?
Of course.
Drew Pavlov said.
Across the border...
Most moral army. You know, look at Iran hitting all these hospitals. Why would they do this? We should really care about Iran committing war crimes against Israel. And notice how I still called it a war crime, but notice my absolute lack of a fuck given. Maybe if Israel hadn't been spending the last 2 years slaughtering women and children and bombing refugee camps, people would maybe give a fuck. Alas, nobody gives a fuck.
Order, families of Hamas...
Fuck your own face!
But it's still a war crime. It should still be accounted for. It should still be catalogued. Will people give a fuck? No. No, I highly doubt it. I highly doubt anybody is really going to care. Unless it, like, Iran drops something big on the middle of a population center just to hit a population center, that's a different story. But until that time, you fucking deserve it.
Captives rally in Tel Aviv.
I don't know why Netanyahu has...
Also, why the fuck would I have any sympathy when you're the one that started the war? Like, you fucked around, and now you're finding out.
Hamas started the war on October 7.
Hamas isn't Iran.
Yes, they are.
has started the war with Iran.
You're
anti-Semitic. Really people have forgotten about the hostages.
Iran state media reports at least 400 people have been killed by Israeli strikes since the IDF launched its surprise attack on June 13. But the regime is known to minimise casualty counts. And the Washington-based group Human Rights Activists say the death toll has reached 639. Both sources put the number of wounded in the thousands. This woman underwent 5 surgeries after a strike landed near her apartment in Tehran's west, throwing her against the wall. I think I have nothing right here that is intact, she says. I just survived. Israel's civilian toll is much lower, holding at 24. Its aerial defense system, the Iron Dome, has been able to intercept most of Iran's attacks, but not all. Tonight, there are deep concerns that Trump's intervention will draw out other forces in the region. A Houthi spokesperson earlier vowing US involvement cannot be tolerated.
The extraordinary thing about this moment is how little we know about what comes next and how it could literally go in either direction. What happened tonight could either entrench the regime or hasten its demise. It could prevent a nuclear Iran, or it could accelerate one.
The long-term repercussions impossible to predict.
Hey, you know,
but the coming days
what
are
could have
almost
prevented
certain
this?
to bring
What?
Not backing out of the JOCPA.
True.
escalation.
I'm gonna make a shirt
in London.
It's
Edward
gonna say,
Godfrey,
I heart the
9 News.
JOCPA.
All right, I want to go to National Affairs Editor Andrew Probert in Canberra now. Andrew, good evening. What has been the Australian government's response?
Well, Pete, remarkably, we don't know whether the Prime Minister and the government actually support the American military strikes or, in fact, whether the PM disapproves of the actions taken by Donald Trump. That's because the government instead issued a rather ambiguous statement from a spokesperson. It looks like we'll have to wait until tomorrow to find out what Anthony Albanese's view is. But for Australians who are stuck in Israel and Iran and want to get out, they could be facing an even longer wait. Australian defence personnel have spent days readying for mercy flights out of the Middle East. In expectation, the airspace might soon be reopened. But with Donald Trump threatening more strikes if Tehran doesn't make peace...
Remember, there are many targets left.
Plans are having to be reconfigured.
Everybody's leaving Tehran right now.
1,200 Australians want to leave Israel and another 2,600 from Iran. The government has 2 defence planes and chartered civilian aircraft on standby, according to the Defence Minister who spoke before the US attacks on Iran.
We are really poised, ready to act in the event that airspace opens.
There's division in Australia as to whether the military strikes are a smart move by Trump or one that risks further escalation.
The answer is no, and we should tell him to fuck off if he asks for our support. However, they're already ADF shit in the Middle East, so fuck me, I guess. Yes, I agree. Free Palestine, but also fuck Iran. Free Palestine from Iran and Israel
so
and
cringe.
every other fucking state.
That's so
like,
cringe. That's what the Zionists say. They go, when you yell free Palestine at them, they go, from Hamas!
Look, it's... The Palestinians are between a rock and a hard place. They really have no other choice but to pick a fucking empire side, because what else are they going to do, right? Like... Fuck all of these people. Like, the Palestinians need to decide for themselves, and the Hamas doesn't, like, it's full of Palestinians, yes, but, like, they're not helping the situation. Like, it's a difficult discussion, because it's like, I'm not gonna poo-poo the Palestinians for joining Hamas to fight Israel. Like, I'm not gonna stand here and say that
BB
that's the correct thing to
was
do.
literally on the mic talking about how, like, you have to stand up against your oppressors through violence to the Iranian people. Like, these violent occupiers that are oppressing you. You need to stand up to them with violence.
Unfucking real. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, it's so painful to sit here across the ocean and watching people defend Hamas like Hamas didn't attack Israel for this exact reason. Right? Like, can we not sit here and defend fucking Hamas and their actions? Like, I'm not gonna, as I said, I'm not gonna sit here and shit on Palestinians that joined Hamas out of desperation because they're living in a state that's trying to fucking murder them. Like, I'm not going to do that. But you can't logically sit here and say Hamas isn't a part of the problem. Like, ultimately, if all of this ends, it needs to not be Hamas that is in control at the end of the day. It needs to be something else, and that is the discussion that isn't being had. People are just like,
Yes,
oh,
it is.
Hamas.
That's literally what Israel's demand is. That's why they won't end the war if the hostages are released.
Yeah, well, I don't give a fuck what Israel thinks. Like,
Well, you
like
just
Hamas
literally
needs to do
parroted
it.
what their demands were.
No, like Hamas needs to and I think Hamas even said that they don't want political power, if I remember correctly. Did they not?
Calling down supplies.
Like they're just like we don't want the political power. Like I swear they did say that. Let me double check this. Did Hamas say they went after political power? Let me go. Maybe I was wrong about that. Hamas doesn't want political power.
Orbital incoming.
Clearly an excuse because Netanyahu wants Hamas gone. Well, that's nothing to do with what I wanted. Will Hamas give up power? Go away. Entire week, a Palestinian official with Hamas. Yeah, okay. Earlier this week, a Palestinian official said the militant group Hamas was willing to relinquish power in Gaza, but even if Hamas did not do so, it's unclear whether the Israel government is open to a Palestinian alternative. This will work. Let's read this. Who will run the Gaza Strip in the future? It's been long one of the sticking points in the ceasefire talks to end the 18-month-long conflict in the coastal enclave, and this week the question appeared to be relevant once again. An anonymous senior Palestinian official familiar with the ceasefire negotiations between Israel and Gaza based militant group Hamas told British broadcaster that Hamas has signaled its readiness to hand over governance of Gaza to any Palestinian entity agreed upon at the national and regional level. Okay, that's... So I was correct. Okay, so let's in theory, let's say what the BBC says from their guy is true. And something, what, like, is there anything other than the Palestinian Authority that is an option?
Honestly,
like,
I think Israel wants to get rid of them too.
Yeah, like this is what I'm saying is like there's so much. It's kind of like fucking.
I think
Kurdistan.
Israel, the current regime, is more of a problem than Hamas.
Yes, 100%, and that's like, and like we're talking about Hamas, but like obviously Hamas isn't going to exist because like they exist as an entity because of Israel, Netanyahu, and the IDF. Like that's why they exist. Like this is, like when I. And this is why it's difficult to talk to people about this shit, is because it's so complicated. And you say one thing and people fucking lose their mind and start pissing in the wind.
Because of the information warfare around it.
It is. It literally is. And even then, like you're seeing how I'm trying to fucking dance around the subject. Like I can't fucking talk about it straight because it's like you say one thing wrong talking about one side of things, and they take it wrong and put it on something that you're not even fucking talking about, and then frame their entire discussion based on that. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, people are literally fucking dying, and you're here arguing semantics and whataboutism? Fuck off. Like,
what level is bro? He didn't log into the terminal while he was over here? I walked away assuming he was on it.
Like,
Great, and an earthquake hit me right when I touched it.
I just feel so fucking bad for people in Gaza. Like, it's... like, there is no solution. That's the thing. There is no good solution that will result in these people not suffering. The only solution is one that's never going to happen, and that's everybody getting the fuck out.
To pollution.
It's so frustrating. But yes, ultimately yes, fucking free Palestine. Like it needs to happen. What do you mean? Like what would I mean? I would
UN
defer.
government.
I would defer to the Palestinians. What do they want?
I think the
And
UN
then-
government is like more trustworthy than a United States or Israeli run.
Oh fuck no. Fuck no. This is what I mean. It's like it needs to, and this is why I. This is actually here's my way out. Right? Yeah. Like here's an option, and I've said it a couple times. The PLA wants to position themselves as pro-Palestine. Petition the UN to deploy a peacekeeping force. Deploy the PLA in Gaza, and get Israel the fuck out of there. There's your solution. And then once the PLA is done and Israel's finished, out of there, fucking no longer involved with Gaza, or it's a single state solution, or whatever the fuck happens. Whatever happens, China needs to also leave. But they're... And I don't... Because every fucking time that Russia goes in and does this shit, they leave peacekeeping forces, which are just occupying forces. So that's my only worry in that kind of sense, is that the PLA won't leave. So even then there's issues, but as I said, there is no good options for them. You need someone unaffiliated with the area, and it's like Japan, but they're associated with America.
That's why
right?
if you do a UN government,
yeah, so it's like...
So it's not ideal. Like, there's not a great... That's the thing. It's like, you know, Indians choosing... Sorry, I'm using the term of the time. But the reservations in the wars against the different tribes in the West, a lot of them chose to go to the reservations because it was like that, or their culture would definitely be destroyed.
Yeah, and that's not exactly a good option. But that, and like, dude, the amount of fucking
But that's the thing,
Israeli...
is because those, it's like, you know, like a Schindler's List type thing, where it's like Oscar Schindler turns out was a Nazi, right? So like, the movie is very kind with its depiction of Oscar Schindler.
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, he did save a shitload of Jews from the Holocaust. But, you know, the dude was a Nazi. He believed in supremacy and all that shit.
Did he save people?
I mean, there's still people... Yeah. Have you seen the movie?
I have not.
Oh. He's basically a Nazi business owner. And he has a list of people that work for him that he's able to pull these people out of the camps, and when the war ends, they are able to, you know, move on.
Yeah, okay.
But he saved thousands of lives personally. But the dude was a Nazi.
Yeah.
If you could argue, maybe there is one good Nazi. Like, his values were still garbage. Like, he initially was saving them because of selfish reasons.
Yeah. Does that make it better or worse?
I think he's a complicated person who's saved thousands of lives.
Yeah, okay.
You know, I think the guy who invented fertilizer also saved a lot of lives and was a Nazi.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
You've done your duty. You may extract with honor.
But the whole movie is black and white, except for this one girl who ends up dying in a Nazi purge in a red coat. And it's only there so Schindler can recognize her in a pile of corpses to give you an attachment.
Okay, so it's kind of like Jojo Rabbit with the shoes.
I mean, it's a very... It's Steven Spielberg. It's a very serious movie. It's a very good movie.
No, I know, but I'm saying that's probably where they got it from. They probably got that idea for the shoes from Schindler's List.
Oh, I haven't seen that, so...
Wait, seriously?
Yeah, I haven't. It's because it's new. it's harder.
You need to
like
watch that movie. It's got
it's harder
Scarlett
to pirate.
Johansson in it. It's so fucking good.
I'll see it eventually.
It's so
when it's older and easily accessible.
good. Taika Waititi plays Hitler. It's fucking hilarious. But like the movie is, it's serious, but it's a spoof. Like it's a very not of this time movie. Like it's very
Springtime
much
for Hitler.
like it's very interesting. It's such a good movie.
Dropships. Requesting air support.
Play the video, bro.
I was playing.
It's literally we've been looking at a blank
yes.
screen for like an
Sorry.
hour.
It's been like 5 minutes.
I'm terribly worried. I'm terribly concerned. I think the situation could easily really explode into something much bigger than perhaps we have anticipated up to this point.
There is a very real fear.
No way.
Live fact.
No
checking.
way. The situation could get worse. This is what I mean. Like,
Whoa.
why are we looking for up-to-date fucking updates on this
That this
shit?
latest attack by the United
No, it's David Shoebridge, great fucking smartest Australian politician. This cunt.
That's the
Fucking
thing. This is like when we do
dumbass.
deep dives, like into like
Mhm.
you know Manipur, right?
Oh
It's
my
because nobody else has done a deep dive into it.
Yes.
Like if you were trying to follow that situation update by update,
Good luck.
it's just like nothing is happening most of the time.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
Out IAEA inspectors. There could be portions of their nuclear program that are secret.
Yep. They're secret.
A nuclear secret in the Middle East. How about it? If the world is interested
Juice!
in a secret nuclear
Juice!
program in the Middle East, there is a country that won't allow any international inspectors.
Guess which one it is?
Israel.
Oh, no way.
I thought they were gonna say China.
Israel has a nuclear weapon. Did you know that? I do. They allow
Nice.
no inspections. They are fully secretive and clandestine about it, and the Americans are fully aware.
Yes, Israel is the rogue fascist state that everybody says that they never wanted to get a nuclear weapon. Israel is that terrorist state. So that's pretty cool.
You know what?
But they're trying to convince you that it's actually Iran that's that state, which they are. But
Look, they're silhouetting themselves on the ridge. The fools, don't they know that makes them easier to shoot? They think they have the high ground.
Has been the rogue state with nuclear weapons for what, like 60 years? Pretty cool.
What? I don't even blame Israel for this. If they want to develop a nuclear weapon, if they had the blessing to do so secretly, I'm not in judgment of that. But to drag the world into a regime...
They literally didn't. They literally
Bro,
developed
standing
them
out here for a
secretly.
hug.
Nobody wanted Israel to get nuclear weapons. They developed it and almost used it right away.
Team change war.
There's a reason. Israel is the only state that would break the taboo.
You haven't seen
I genuinely
Schindler's
think-
List, and you're like you're mad at a modern movie. Like, oh, you haven't seen one of the most important films of all time?
Yeah, it's black and white. Bleh.
Weapons. When you have secret nuclear weapons,
they're not
is a bit
secret.
You know what's
hypocritical.
another great Holocaust
Well,
film?
it's it's
The
self-preservation.
Pianist with Adrian Brody.
The penis. Have not seen that either. What are you looking at, dog?
Preservation. It's just that simple. It's
that
just straight
simple.
up self-preservation. I can understand it. But if they say they don't need us to get rid of all the nuclear facilities, Israel said that, I think it's time to turn those aircraft carriers around.
Oh
I
my
think it's
God.
time to leave.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I mean, if we're not going to bomb them and Israel...
Oh my god. Fuck this guy.
I thought we were done with
Fordo,
Aspen
which
Gold,
is
Jack.
probably the hardest to
We
get to.
are.
Okay, that one's near,
Oh yeah,
near
bro.
or in the vicinity of
Richie
Qom, which is
Medhurst
very
has been
important religious city
incredible
in Iran.
lately, bro.
And then, of course, they bombed Isfahan. Well, rather, the nuclear site at Isfahan. Isfahan is another important city. So I'll just show you on the map. You can see kind of where this is, where these strikes were spread out. Okay, so this is the Natanz site. That's the main uranium enrichment site for the Iranians. Okay, and this is not the first time it's been bombed. I'll come back to that in a second. But that's where Natanz is. This is where Fordo is. So just, you know, a bit further up, and then you can see here the Isfahan site. Okay, you know, I was looking at this at all these sites with you just the other day, and I was thinking to myself, well, maybe it would have been better to go and put them way east, right? But you have to remember that,
You know what's crazy?
precisely in the last
about
20
the
years,
JOCPA?
It's
The
JCPOA.
entire, whatever. The entire UN Security Council was signed on. It was a multilateral deal that was holding Russia, China, and the US together in a fucking diplomatic policy. It is literally a policy that was preventing escalations in Taiwan and Ukraine. It doesn't mean that the war in Ukraine wouldn't, like, if it was still in place, the war in Ukraine still could have happened. I'm not saying it was preventing everything, but it is a policy that was helping mitigate reasons to invade Ukraine.
Yeah.
How much of that mitigation maybe didn't matter at the end of the day. But to gut that policy when it was holding near peer adversaries together like that is so stupid.
the United States were occupying Afghanistan. They're in Pakistan de facto as well. So honestly, would it really make that much of a difference? They've got basically they've got Iran surrounded from both sides. So anyway, that's a whole different issue. But Donald Trump has gone, and now, you know, if it wasn't already clear enough, for me it was very clear, and I told you I told you as much when Israel began attacking Iran on Friday, June 13th, 2025. I told you this is a U.S. war. Israel doesn't fart or cough without the United States approving it and funding it and financing it and giving them the nod. Okay, it doesn't happen.
Probably
it just doesn't happen.
Which Marvel movie?
I assume that I have seen less than half that exist. That's what I assume at this point.
Of all the Marvel movies?
Maybe. There's just so many now.
There are a lot. That is true. That is very true. They haven't been good for a while, honestly.
That's why I stopped watching them.
I watched Infinity War. That was 2019. Since then, I haven't really watched anything.
I don't think I've seen it.
Infinity War was fine.
I saw the part 1, but not the part 2.
I saw it in Japan.
I saw part 1 and I said, well, that was time I'm not getting back.
So now, in case you had any misconceptions or you were under any misguided beliefs that you had bought into any misguided beliefs that the United States wasn't involved, well, now it should be very clear that they are. Okay, I know some people, like, they still it wouldn't click for them. Now it has to click for everyone. Okay,
they were.
Trump was
one dragged the
basically
United
trying to
States
say
into a
we
war.
bombed Iran, trying to take Israel's credit.
True.
You know, it was like just outside of his reach. He was trying to be like, can I claim this? Can I claim this as my success? Can I Comrade Casey this?
United States is the war. It started the war, okay? It's always been that way. And now this has become even clearer. Now what they've done is they've gone and used these bunker buster bombs. Now, here, you can see that on the screen. I've got a photograph over here, right? So this kind of ordnance, the Israelis actually don't have. I know that's shocking. I know that might come as a surprise to many of you. That you know, there's a weapon of mass destruction. I mean, not literally like a WMD, but this does cause mass destruction in the literal sense that Israel doesn't have. Yes, actually, there are a few, but basically, Israel has it de facto, right? This is what we're talking about. Okay, so you know, these things are so bloody heavy that you can't even. You know, I don't think the Israelis even have the right planes for them. You need a B-2 to go and drop it, or a B-2 or a B-52, okay? Either one of those should do the trick. And again, forgive me for using the imperial system. I don't, but you know, it's written in, you can see it written right there. It says 30,000 pounds. What is that, about 13,000 kilos? Yeah?
Excuse me for using
13,600
the peasant system.
Kilos. I mean, that is just goddamn behemoth. Now, they're saying that they dropped these bombs on Fordo, on Natanz, and so on. Now, let me just explain something to you. That Fordo is buried so far deep underground. I think, honestly, short of a nuclear weapon, you're not going to really cause much damage there. Also, the Iranians are saying that they pulled all of their enriched uranium, their research, their advanced centrifuges. So we're talking about IR4, IR6, and especially IR8. I mean, as the names imply, these are the latest generations, right? I mean, like, if you take an IR6 and compare it to an IR1, you can enrich uranium at 10 times the speed, right? So just anyway, so the point is the Iranians have moved the stuff. That's what they're saying, and I think I would imagine they certainly have, and I don't think that they're going to.
Yeah, we moved it from the most secure spot that could almost guarantee that it wouldn't be destroyed more than any place else.
In terms of their nuclear research and prowess by these strikes. I don't think so.
I believe
again, I'm just guessing. I'm just kind of speculating, but given everything that's happened, you know, all the assassinations that have taken place. When they killed Fakhrizadeh, when they went and killed, you know, the scientists last week, when they killed the CIA and Mossad were killing scientists between 2010 and 2012,
come on.
With the MEK as well, you know, they didn't halt or really delay Iran's nuclear program. So, I mean, if anything, and I made this point in the other videos, that they actually helped speed it up because of their attacks, right? Like, that was a direct response to the sanctions, to the bombings, to the assassinations, the speeding up of Iran's nuclear program. And again, it's not a weapons program, but, you know, obviously they have that technology. If they want to pursue a bomb, they can do it. They have the mines, the material, you know, the research. They can do it if they want to, but they have not done it. And I'll show you this clip of just these these scumbags, like just the look, man. And I called them earlier on Twitter the neo conservatives. Yes, double, the neo conservatives. They really just look like a bunch of massive knobs.
Thank you very much. A short time ago, the U.S. military carried out massive precision strikes on the 3 key nuclear facilities in the Iranian regime: Fordo, Natanz, and Esfahan. Everybody heard those names for years as they built this horribly destructive enterprise. Our objective was the destruction of Iran's
this horribly destructive enterprise. Like he says that after he literally just bombed them. What was destructive about it? Explain what was destructive. Like it's a civilian nuclear program, but okay, I'm gonna
nuclear enrichment capacity and stop the nuclear threat posed by the world's #1 state-sponsored terror.
Wait, so you bombed yourself?
Tonight I can report to the world that the strikes were a spectacular military success.
He tell
Iran's
funny.
Key nuclear enrichment
He do a
facilities
joke.
have been completely and totally obliterated. Iran, the bully of the Middle East, must now make peace.
Oh, I can't wait. You think he's gonna say, wow, he's gonna do the same Asmongold joke. Wow.
That is
the most obvious joke.
They do not, future attacks would be far greater and a lot easier. For 40 years, Iran has been saying death to America, death to Israel.
Yeah, why is that? Why do they say that, by the way? Does it... I'm just spitballing here. Does it maybe have something to do with the fact that, they had a democracy
they deserve it.
in 1953, and then when they tried to nationalize their oil, the CIA and MI6 overthrew their democratically elected prime minister. Maybe it's something to do with that. I don't know. I'm just guessing.
They have been killing our people, blowing off their arms, blowing off their legs with
We have no limbs.
bombs.
We're limbless.
Specialty. We lost over 1,000.
Really? Really? Where were these roadside bombs? In New York? Where did this happen? Uptown,
wherever they want?
In upstate New York, in Manhattan, in California. Where were these roadside bombs? Or were they actually in Iraq and Afghanistan, like Iran's direct neighbors? What were you doing there? Why were you in Iraq? Why were you in Afghanistan? Because if you start a war, as the Israelis say, don't complain. Right? The Israelis love saying that. I'm just saying what the Israelis say. I'm not suggesting anything at all. But honestly, he just like says, oh yeah, they were blowing off limbs, like it's just someone just like chopping people's limbs. Well, no. There's some context here. You illegally invaded 2 countries and occupied them for decades, and the Iranians, were concerned about their neighbors. Maybe you should give us
concerned about their neighbors.
Someone unfucking real. Someone I'm gonna say unironically. I'm gonna take it at face value. They unironically said, "Can someone explain how bomb nuclear sites and no nukes set off?" Could you just let that stupidity
person
sink in?
RDB.
They're a real estate agent.
So, RDB, like Artie B.
Does that mean parasite?
So, RDB, like ARTY, RDB. You know who that is?
No.
So it was like a late night show. What's the Kimmel guy or something like that, right? They're like a versus thing where they do a knowledge from the eras.
Okay.
And so they ask a question like, who wrote the whatever Cardi B song? And someone in the crowd is going, Cardi B, Cardi B. And the old lady goes, RDB.
Oh my god.
And they're like, no, that's incorrect. Sounds like you're getting some help from the audience there.
That's fucking awesome.
And I've never forgotten RDB.
Information instead of acting.
RDB.
Just shit like that just shit like that just sticks with you sometimes.
Yeah, they just separating people from their limbs, which is really funny also coming from him, given that I just saw a video earlier of a child having their leg amputated in Gaza.
They deserved it.
That Donald Trump sent. Right? I think that's very ironic.
Maybe the child should have been a suicide bomber and they'd still have legs.
The Middle East and around the world have died as a direct result of their hate. In particular, so many were killed by their general.
How could they say
Qasem
such things?
Soleimani. I decide.
Yeah, again, he's not telling you that whole part where the U.S. invades like almost every country.
Shut
and
up,
by the
robot.
way, literally Iran is on that list of 7 countries that the neoconservatives wanted to take out. So it's kind of like I wouldn't call it hypocrisy. That's too mild, right? He's just so full of it, isn't he?
I decided a long time ago that I would not let this happen. It will not continue. I want to thank and congratulate Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu.
Thank you for being a friend.
We worked as a team like perhaps no team has ever worked before.
Oh, wow. Even the Powder Puff Girls?
What?
And we've gone a long way to erasing this horrible threat to Israel. I want to thank the Israeli military for the wonderful job they've done. And most importantly, I want to congratulate the great American patriots who flew those magnificent machines tonight, and all of the United States military on an operation the likes of which the world has not seen in many, many decades. Hopefully we will no longer need their services. And
yeah, you know, nothing screams patriotism, especially in the U.S. Especially in the U.S. Like flying halfway across the world to drop bombs on people that don't care about you and don't want anything to do with you. That for me is really American. Truly.
This capacity. I hope that's so. I also want to congratulate the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Dan Raisin Kane, spectacular general, and all of the brilliant military minds involved in this attack.
Who?
With all of that being said, this cannot...
Peter Hegseth is not even qualified.
Bro, have you seen the new, like...
There will be either peace...
terrorism director that they hired that's literally like a child?
What? Seriously?
Yeah, he's like 22.
I'm fucking
Director
weird.
of some agency.
How?
Bro, the guy who
What
had
the
the
fuck?
position before, it's literally the guys who... It's our information warfare department. They like do like niche things inside the country to stop people from joining domestic terror groups. And now like a pimple-faced kid runs it who has no idea what he's doing.
Yeah, that's insane. A 22-year-old. Fucking crazy, man.
or there will be tragedy for Iran far greater than we have witnessed over the... Remember, there are many targets left. Tonight's was the most difficult of them all, by far.
Just throw drones at them.
The most lethal. But if
Drone.
peace does not come quickly, we will go after those other targets with precision, speed, and skill.
Nothing a little drone.
The guy
will
just
fix.
bombed the Middle East and he's talking about peace. Like, look, I mean, what a joke of a person. What a joke of a person. And all these like morons standing behind these meatheads. Look at them. Look at them. They're neocons 2.0, or rather 3.0, I should say.
Most of them can be taken out in a matter of minutes. There's no military in the world that could have done what we did tonight. Not even close.
We're the
There's never
greatest.
been a
Everyone's
military
saying
that
it.
could do what
How cool we
took
are.
place just a little while ago.
They're like, wow.
I'm really proud of
I
his,
wish I
his
could be as
syntax
cool
and
as you.
sentence construction. It really reflects an effort that's been put in. I mean, you know,
and you have such an incredibly big
I'm the
penis.
first who's going to criticize, you know, the politics here, but when people make fun of the way he speaks, it's really accurate, honestly. He does speak like a 12-year-old.
Thank you.
Wasn't that something that I don't know, someone did a study of his transcripts of his speeches and things like that? He really does speak like a 12-year-old.
It's just
Hell yeah.
broke that
Ryan
American
Macbeth.
B-2 bombers hit Iranian nuclear facilities.
fucking go.
I think some cruise missiles fired from submarines were used as well. I want to give you my first thoughts. First off, note that I'm at a friend's house in Virginia Beach
Tell us,
right
Lib.
now, proving that...
Please justify. I know I just called him a lib. It's because fucking they're the same thing. Conservatives, libs. Who gives a shit?
Okay, Kami.
Fucking. This guy, I can't wait to see him justify these strikes. I'm going to be very surprised if he doesn't justify them, to be completely honest.
And every single time I leave the house, something big happens. I'm actually on my way to Fort Novosel tomorrow at 5 in the morning. Fort Novosel is previously known as Fort Rucker. I'm there to do a video on the Army's flight school. So again, global events have perfect timing. This is also proof that the movie Top Gun Maverick would have been about 5 minutes long had they just used the B-2 bomber. Now, ever since Masha Amini was murdered for wearing a hat incorrectly, I've been in touch with everyday Iranians. They are some of the most incredible people.
It's because she wasn't wearing a
food
hat
and socialized
correctly.
with Iranians like Marjan, who fled the regime. The U.S. has nothing against the people of Iran. I want you to watch the movie The Iran Job, which was a 2012 documentary about U.S. basketball player Kevin Shepard. He was never quite good enough for the NBA. And then one day he got a call to play for an Iranian basketball team. So he flew there and he played. There is a scene in this documentary where it's almost Christmas and Shepard wants a Christmas tree. The Iranians bent over backwards to figure out how to get him a Christmas tree. Something most of them had never even heard of. That's Iran. That's the real Iran. So what
Iran
happens next
has
after these
Christmas.
strikes? Well, odds are we'll probably see theater ballistic missile and drone attacks against
Can
U.S.
you look
bases
that up,
in the
please?
Middle East. Some of those.
Can you just look up Christmas tree in Iran? I've seen Christmas trees in Ayatollah speeches. I swear to God.
Iran, primarily an Islamic country, also celebrates Christmas like other
I
nations in the
fucking told you, bro. What documentary by the CIA is this motherfucker watching? Are you for real?
Those missiles and drones might.
This country is so evil that it doesn't even have Christmas. Can you believe it?
Terrorist attacks in the U.S. Now,
don't worry,
this part might
Discord
ruffle some
kitten.
feathers, but I need to say it, and I sure hope you are mature enough to handle
Bro,
this.
what's
I am
going
an
on with my
analyst,
scope?
not a politician. There is a non-zero chance that Iranian agents exploited our porous southern border. We don't know who's here.
Oh
and
my
in the coming
God,
weeks,
immigrants
we
are
might
from
find out
Iran.
in the worst
The
way.
Iranian agents
And
are
that's
coming
actually
over the
scary
border.
scenario for
Al
me.
Qaeda,
Terrorist attacks,
Daesh.
multiple terrorist attacks on U.S. soil conducted by Iranians or their proxies who are here in the U.S. illegally. That is the nightmare scenario.
Fuck yourself.
Arresting
Fuck
day
yourself.
laborers might play well
Fuck
with the president's
you.
base, but we need to prioritize and figure out if there's any potential terrorists who could be operating in this country. In all honesty, all the
Eat
free
my whole
Palestine
ass, Ryan.
states need to get a second
Oh,
look
here
as
we
well,
go.
because they've
The
already been
protesters,
compromised by
they're actually Iranian
propaganda.
agents.
It's not
The
that much of a leap
Mohammed
in
Khalil
kinetic activities,
should go back to
especially
jail.
if you've been.
Sure, why not?
Bro, fuck this guy. What an asshole.
Fuck it. I told you this was going to be good. Why do you think I put it on?
Let's talk about the Strait of Hormuz. This is Iran's
You're a
ace card.
Hormuz.
About 20 million barrels of oil pass through the Strait of Hormuz each day.
You're
it's
a Hormuz.
narrow, it's vulnerable. It's right in Tehran's backyard. Iran could use anti-ship missiles and mines to make navigating the straits very treacherous for merchant mariners. All you need to do is look at how the Houthis essentially shut down the Bab el-Mandeb Strait by lobbing missiles and drones at ships. Now, could the U.S. hit Iranian anti-ship missile sites? Yeah, we could, but there's always a cost. It could mean airstrikes. It could mean hunting drone launch sites the way the coalition hunted Saddam's Scud missiles during the first Gulf War. It could also mean escorting tankers with destroyers, kind of like we did during the 1987 Operation Earnest Will. It's also possible that Iran could try to mine the Straits of Hormuz. We do have minesweepers. It's something that the littoral combat ship can do. Now, the president just addressed the nation and said that we were the only military that could have performed this attack, and he's not wrong. Our stealth bombers are highly capable aircraft. Now, we don't have a lot of them, only 19. And like I said before, a good rule of thumb is that at any given time, 1/3 of any kind of aircraft are not available for a mission because they're undergoing maintenance. Now, you can surge those aircraft, you can get all your maintainers and make them work Saturdays and get all those planes ready to go, but you can only do that until they need longer scheduled maintenance. So the more we use stealth bombers, the less available they become, because eventually they will need maintenance. So I think the strategy here, the strategy that the president decided to undertake, is to kind of let Iran know that the ball is in their court now. If they come to the table, the negotiation table, sincerely, and decide to stop enriching uranium and supporting terror, we're cool. The attacks stop. And if they don't, then they will continue
They already
with
have bombed
whatever that
Israel
would means with whatever kind of
in
airstrikes
response.
we're able to perform. The next question is, does this mean World War III? I don't
Yes.
think so. I don't
Obviously.
think we would physically see troops on the ground in Iran.
duh.
Like I've said before, Iran is twice the size of Texas.
World War III is, well, World War III happened. The next World War is not going to be fought with bullets. It'll have limited skirmishes in a designated area, and the rest of it will be hearts and minds.
Well, that's
It'll
what I
all be
was,
information warfare,
like-
and America's already losing.
Like, there's no reason for America to get involved with anything fourth generation at this point.
Yeah, exactly. Like, there's no point in putting troops on the ground. It's just a losing battle at this point.
Texas, we can do a lot from the air. But now I want to talk about China. If you watch my video on the order of battle for the People's Liberation Army, well, the People's Liberation Army,
we
the
will
first Gulf
win.
War really freaked China
Can you just
out. They saw our capabilities for the very first time,
look
and
up
it
Chuck
scared
Schumer,
the
we will
crap
win?
out of them. And this is why China started modernizing their military. China is probably watching this and taking notes, especially as they think about invading Taiwan, which could happen as early as 2027, 2028. If we can hit hardened...
Gonna fight the fight? Are we gonna win the fight? Are we not gonna rest till we win? Let me say first some good news. Every one of the 47 Democratic senators is gonna vote against that horrible, dangerous man, Russell Vogt, on Wednesday.
Yay!
And we cannot allow Elon Musk and a small group of people to secretly, behind closed doors, take away our privacy,
our paychecks,
take away our dollars, take away everything we have. We are going to fight this fight. I am going to stand with you in this fight, and we will win. We will win. We will win.
I fucking hate these people so much.
Iranian targets halfway around the world.
We will
Maybe
win.
Taiwan isn't really worth the gamble. Maybe it's just easier.
How low effort.
Bro, I know, right?
Oh my god.
The joke is that he
buy
also got Trump to bomb Iran.
It was a part of his deal.
No, like
You know,
he
the
was
funny thing
saying
is,
he was
one of
the
my
one doing
fans
this.
sent me
Trump's
this
a chicken,
book,
he
The
won't
Never-Ending
bomb
War,
Iran.
which is about terrorism in the 1980s. And, you know, reading this book, with the exception of the IRA in Ireland, which was heavily promoted by Colonel Muammar Gaddafi, and ETA in Spain, Iran and their proxies had their fingers in just about every single terrorist action in the Middle East. I'm old enough to remember the hijacking of TWA Flight 847, where the plane was taken to Beirut and some of the hostages were given to Hezbollah for safekeeping. Hezbollah is one of Iran's proxies, although since the overthrow of Bashar al-Assad in Syria, they no longer have access to Iranian weapons, or at least no longer have easy access to them. But, you know, reading this book, you know, this book was published in 1987. It points back to Iran. Like every single incident in this book, with the exception of the IRA and ETA, it points back to Iran. Iran's been doing this for 45 years.
I finally got that dumb blonde cunt fucking fascist mole to block me. Finally, and all it took for me to get her to block me was for a direct quote here: "Shut the fuck up, white Australia policy wanting ass Nazi cunt." Fuck that bitch. You know what she did? She screenshot my picture and sent it back to me like it's a fucking thing that does something.
You know, when it comes to regime change, I saw that movie, I lived it, I didn't like the movie, and I'm not too crazy about the sequel. In an ideal world, the Iranian people, perhaps with the help of the Artesh, which is Iran's army, they will rise up and they will throw off.
Must have got her real good because she was like, "Aren't you delightful?" And then she's like, "That emotional support monkey you take everywhere." The thing's literally hanging up in my garage. Like, calm the fuck down. I was gonna put it on my bike, but I haven't found a place to put it yet, which is very sad. But it's also very funny because my arms look huge in that photo. So I literally, because I couldn't fucking retweet her, because of course I couldn't.
It's so funny when they screenshot your picture. Like they really think they're doing something. It's so fucking funny. I cannot describe how funny it
self-destructive
is.
leaders. Could we help with that? Well, it worked in Libya until it kind of didn't. You know, the Prime
Libya's
Minister
fine.
of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, named Israel's strikes Operation Rising Lion.
They're like,
And
Iraq
if you
failed.
look at Iran's previous
Okay,
flag,
now,
the
Iraq,
flag of the Shah had a lion on it.
during almost all of
At
the
the end of the
American
day, Iran
occupation,
is an ancient...
might have been worse than under Saddam. But now it's fine.
civilization with a crappy government that is
like an
barely
entire
45 years
generation
old.
burnt.
Cultures outlive
But
regimes,
it's fine now.
and I sincerely hope that the Iranian people find a way to reclaim the greatness of their culture and join the community again. Inshallah. Zan Zendegi
Cringe.
Azadi. Thank
Cringe.
you for watching.
Very cringe.
Cringe.
So cringe. Boy.
Bro, he said it in Persian.
The United States and Iran have one of the world's most complicated and controversial relationships. The United States is the world's most preeminent superpower with a population of more than 320 million, while Iran is a major power in her own right, with a population of more than 80 million. These countries represent 4% and 1% of the living human population. And for the past 41 years, they've had absolutely zero diplomatic relations and have come close to the brink of total war on more than one occasion. At the beginning of 2020, war between the two sides seemed almost inevitable. The United States assassinated an Iranian major general in a drone strike, and Iran retaliated by initiating artillery strikes against American military bases across Iraq. Had a war broken out from there, it had the potential to become the biggest conflict
this is
in
my issue
human
already. I have issue with this.
Okay.
They're minimizing that Iraq almost had a fucking civilian revolution. And that civilian revolution was actually hijacked after this. So like the thing is that the Sunni and the Shia in Iraq both agreed that America needed to get out of the fucking country. Right? And like, you know, like Saudirists have worked with the Sunnis before. But this was the like Iranian loyalists who also were coming out and protesting because they wanted American involvement out as well, because it benefits them. Well, when Qasem Soleimani gets killed, the protests from the Iranian network side of Iraq take on that kind of angle, and it starts dividing the protest.
Yeah.
But, like, one of my favorite pictures ever taken is taken in this protest. And it's just of two girls crying. They're, like, in protest gear, right? Like, you could literally take it right out of America. And, like, the mascara's running down their faces. But literally, it's like after the protesters had been backed up onto a bridge. And the Iraqi, basically the fucking... Shia militias, and the president at the time basically was just like killing these people after kettling them on a bridge. The fucking Iraqi state used Shia forces to start shooting these people.
Yeah. I mean, we can also talk about how...
And this is the country that I just said Iraq is fine now. The point is that it almost had. Like, it's just like Egypt. Egypt. I would live in Iraq before Egypt. But like Egypt is fine.
Okay.
Like I would not want to live in Egypt, but it's fine. You know what I mean? Like Egypt is not.
Well, what about
like there's extreme poverty and shit, but it's not like a country that's suffering.
Sure.
Like, all countries and states have poverty and shit, and, you know, obviously, Egypt isn't paradise, but, you know, there's not a emergent crisis going on in the country. And, you know, they had a civilian revolution and then a military coup.
Well, I mean, you could also kind of look at the women life freedom protests as well. Like they could have easily turned that into a revolution, but nobody gave a fuck. And now all of a sudden,
Well, I mean, Israel was backing.
we're pro-Iranian
the groups
people.
that Israel backs are not the civilian groups. It's like MEK and stuff.
Yeah. So it's like,
And the
you know,
Belows.
everybody's claiming that they're pro-Iran, but like at the end of the day, they could have done something, and they did nothing. They let them get suppressed, and nothing happened, and women get back to the same oppressed state that they've always been. Like, what the fuck are we supposed to do here? Like, you claim that you care about the Iranian people, but you let a popular revolution go. I thought you were fucking revolutionaries.
History since the Second World War. This time, that fate was thankfully avoided. But in order to understand how it got so close and why it could still happen during another crisis in the future, you've got to understand the entire history of the conflict between America and Iran so far. And that story begins back before the start of World War II. At the beginning of the 20th century, oil was first discovered within the deserts of Iran by the British. As more and more of these discoveries were made, it was revealed that Iran in fact contained the fourth largest proven reserves of oil anywhere on the planet, and that the country was an undiscovered and unrealized energy superpower. The only problem for the British, of course, was that these discoveries were located within Iran, and Iran wasn't within Britain's vast colonial empire that already spanned a quarter of the globe. Not too worried about that pesky little detail, Britain negotiated a deal with Iran to share in the massive profits that were bound to come from the extraction of all this oil. They created the jointly owned Anglo-Iranian Oil Company, but it wasn't exactly set up very fairly. Iran, the country where all of this oil was actually located, was only entitled to 16% of the company's profits, whereas the other 84% of profits were going directly to the British. By the start of the Second World War, the Anglo-Iranian Oil Company grew to control all of Iran's oil and had grown to become the largest company in the entire British Empire. But this massively valuable asset was coming under threats. Discontent at the company's unfair terms was growing within Iran itself, while at the same time in 1941, Nazi Germany invaded the Soviet Union and opened up...
What? I'm
It's
listening.
boring. Heard it before. We know. Iran has oil.
Pain,
Who
and he
the
fled the
fuck cares?
country in exile in early 1970. Despite nearly none of the rest of the Islamic world even recognizing Israel, while he carried out a domestic policy of modernization, secularism, and the enfranchisement of women. All of these policies combined alienated Iran's leftists, the working class, and the hardcore Shiite Muslim conservatives and clergy. And by the late 1970s, Iran's long-standing political unrest had transformed into full-scale revolution. A movie theater was set on fire in Abadan that killed at least 420 people, with the Shah's regime blaming Marxist and Islamist insurgents, while many of the protesters felt like it was more likely the Shah's own secret police. The following month, protesters gathered in the capital Tehran's main square, and the Shah's army opened fire on them indiscriminately, killing and wounding hundreds more. More than 5 million Iranians took to the streets demanding the Shah's abdication, and after defections from his army became rampant, Mohammad Pahlavi realized that his position was impossible to maintain, and he fled the country in exile in early 1979. The new radical Shiite Islamist government that replaced the Shah's regime immediately abolished the monarchy and invited Ayatollah Khamenei back to the country after 15 years of exile to become Iran's new supreme leader, and the modern Islamic Republic of Iran was born. And this new Iranian regime was radically different from the one that it preceded. It was a totalitarian Shiite theocracy that was staunchly opposed to the United States and Israel, and mass executions and purges of political opponents and members of the former regime were almost immediately carried out. To the United States and the rest of the world, Iran's Islamic Revolution came as an enormous shock. Almost overnight, Iran had flipped from being one of America's most important Middle Eastern allies to her greatest Middle Eastern enemy. After the Shah was overthrown, the United States welcomed him into their country for a cancer treatment operation, and the new Iran demanded that he be extradited.
I was talking to Pega, and Pega told me that it was Carter that told him and his family to come to America. of all fucking
Brzezinski.
presidents, it was
Brzezinski. Brzezinski is in Carter's admin. He's responsible for everything.
Crazy.
Like even the CIA
Like,
hates
I
Brzezinski
was
because he was
crazy.
so he
Like,
was so
I was-
anti-communist. He fucked all their shit up. He's the one who tells
Incredible.
the fucking state to stand down and let the revolts happen. Like, he lets the Shia
Oh my
uprising
God.
happen because he doesn't want the leftists to seize the state. It's literally
Oh
all his
my
fault.
God.
The same guy who weaponized the Mujahideen in Pakistan and created the situation in Pakistan also created this. Like, the reason Al-Qaeda exists. Like, he's the worst.
That's awesome. Because I've always been under the impression that Carter was like the least offensive of the presidents.
No, he definitely, like, they definitely caused the Iranian Revolution. Like, it was
that's
happening
fucking
anyway.
Crazy.
But like, his interference against the leftists is the reason why the Shia were able to hijack the uprising. The reason why Massoud never got funding, and it was the fucking Muslim Brotherhood, was the same shit.
Yeah.
He sucks.
Yeah. Hilarious.
Extradited back to stand trial for the crimes that he had committed throughout his reign against the Iranian people. Knowing that his return would mean a certain execution, the United States rejected all of Iran's demands. But that did little to dissuade Iran's revolutionary paranoia. Since the Shah was actively inside America, and since Western powers had already initiated...
The only people who were correct about Ayatollah was the CIA for once. So that's the thing.
Seriously?
So the thing is that the CIA is actually pretty good during this time. You know, it's Khrushchev
Okay.
and shit. They have to be. So
True. I mean, I'm sure they're still doing
I
terrorist
mean, it's
shit.
post Khrushchev, you know. So like, they've already built them up.
Mm.
But so they're very effective at the time. And so the CIA.
Sorry, let us.
The
can
CIA.
we just, hold on, can we just clarify? When you say good, are you talking about effectiveness?
Morally and effectiveness in many ways.
Okay. Okay, interesting. Okay.
So like the funding of the Mujahideen, I think, was a morally good thing to do. The reason why the policy had issues was because of Brzezinski, not the CIA. The CIA was
Okay, so
correct. But
explain that,
basically,
because the Mujahideen-
Brzezinski set it up so empowered a fucking guy who had already committed genocide and vowed that Pakistan was going to obtain a nuclear weapon. He empowered that guy. Zia Haq. So all the management had to go through Zia Haq. So it allowed him to build up the ISI, the Pakistani Intelligence Service, which
Yes,
then goes
and that
on
was
to
all trained
fund
by
a
the
ton of
CIA.
terror groups, including the Taliban.
Okay, so from my understanding, the Mujahideen are like Islamic fundamentalists, right?
Well, like, you know, if you pull up the page on the Peshawar 7, right? So there's
But
two
yes,
types.
the Mujahideen
Four
were
groups-
fundamentalists, yes?
4 groups are Islamic fundamentalist, 3 others are more nationalist. Of the Peshawar 7, which are the main
I think we
Sunni
went over this.
Mujahideen.
We went over this recently. Yeah, we went
There's
over this.
also the
recently,
Tehran
I
8. They're a Shia collective, but
Mhm.
they're not important. They literally did
okay.
nothing of relevance.
Peshawar 7 Alliance fell into 2 categories: political Islamists, Hezb-e Islami Khalis.
Yeah,
Hezb-e
Khalis
Islami
is so funny.
Gulbuddin, Jamiat-e
Islami. So there's 2 of those. It's a split.
And Ittihad-e-Islami.
Yeah, there's.
And then the traditionalists
Hikmatyar,
were
GBI is
Mahaz-e-Milli.
Hikmatyar. They're the super bad guys.
Okay.
Now that's who all the funding
Yeah.
went to, because Pakistan decided where the funding was going to go, and they are by far the most
And then
radical.
revolutionary.
Hikmatyar is worse than the Taliban in many ways. And so, when the Soviets left, there was 2 Mujahideen left standing.
Okay.
Massoud and Hikmatyar. They proceed to basically shell the capital to rubble. there's mass atrocities, and the question is how much control Masood had over these things. It's like Al-Shura in Syria. You know what I mean? How much control does he have over stopping these ethnic massacres? So the question is if Masood was responsible for these war crimes. And the thing is that Masood, what's interesting is he employed propagandists. So there's tons of footage. So he filmed the war crimes that he committed. He documented everything, knowing that it was going to be important. He originally hired the cameramen for training purposes to show, because there's multiple languages and not everyone can read. So he started using video propaganda to train his fighters with training videos. And it's one of the reasons why he's extremely successful.
Interesting.
And then Hekmatyar is just insane. And that's who the CIA backed. It's because of Brzezinski. The CIA didn't directly back him.
Yeah.
The money that they had to fund could only be funneled through the ISI, and it was set up by Brzezinski because they both agreed they had to keep the commies out, and the CIA was too pro-commie.
Yeah.
Because they did not have a fucking capitalist agenda at the CIA.
Yeah.
But Brzezinski is like he's like a fascist Pole in the Carter admin.
Yeah.
Created 2 previous coups in the past to install him over the will of the Iranian people, the paranoia was widespread that America and the CIA could be plotting yet another 3rd coup attempt from within their embassy inside Tehran. And so, in November of 1979, thousands of Iranian revolutionaries and students stormed the American
embassy. This is important too, because there's no evidence that the Ayatollah ordered this. This is kind of a Mullah Omar situation, where he was stuck in a situation where he needed to save face.
I'm so funny.
Huh?
I'm so fucking funny. I forgot I did this on the 5th Gen page. I retweeted the one of the Iran pages, and they're like, "Oh, we have the right to respond strongly." And I used the 5th Gen page to go, "Come on, little dinghies full of bombs, launch at the minutes." And I fucking forgot that I posted that.
An embassy and took 52 American diplomats and civilians as hostages. America eventually sent the Shah away to Egypt, while the Carter administration worked for months to secure the hostages' release. But when diplomacy went nowhere, Carter authorized a raid by the United States Army Rangers in April of 1980 to attempt a rescue operation. But the raid turned into a disaster. Codenamed Operation Eagle Claw, a helicopter crashed into a transport plane before any contact with the Iranians was even made, and 8 American soldiers lost their lives. Carter ordered the mission to be abandoned, and the hostages remained under Iranian control. It was at this point that the United States decided to sever all diplomatic relations with Iran's new regime, and they have been frozen ever since. But a few months later, something else incredible and unexpected happened. In September of 1980, Saddam Hussein's Iraq launched an all-out invasion of conquest into Iran. For years preceding this, Saddam had wanted Iraq to overtake and supplant Iran as the dominant power in the oil-rich Persian Gulf. But they were never capable of doing anything about it, because Iran had a colossally larger military, and they had the support of America and Israel, all of which made her vastly more powerful. But after Iran was thrown into chaos by her revolution and regime change, with massive purges and executions of government officials, and after she was abandoned by both America and Israel and was left without any major foreign allies, Saddam calculated that now was better than ever to take advantage and attack. Iraq expected a rapid victory, but the war that followed turned into an 8-year-long stalemate that most resembled the Western Front of World War I. After the massive Iraqi invasion, Iran was forced to reevaluate the American hostage situation, and they agreed to release all 52 back into U.S. custody after holding them for 444 days. America levied heavy economic sanctions upon Iran as a consequence, and then began heavily supplying Saddam and Iraq in their war effort that they hoped would destabilize Iran even further. The Iran-Iraq War would ultimately prove to be one of the largest and the bloodiest of the 20th century's second half, with as many as 400,000 Iranians losing their lives across the front line.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, they were using wave tactics, were they not?
Like a third of the male population. Like, look at
Yeah, they were.
look up the population chart.
Weren't they using wave tactics?
Yeah, but they're also using wave tactics against nerve agent.
Yes. I'm fucking real.
And a lot of people say that Saddam's invasion gave the Ayatollah the face he needed to secure his reign.
Interesting.
Because it united the people.
Yeah.
And then, like, you have to think about it, it's like, there was not, the Islamists were not the majority faction, but all those men were then sent to die in these wave tactic.
True. True, that's a good point.
But yeah, you gotta see the population graph, it's nuts.
Yeah.
Line owing in part to the widespread deployment of chemical weapons and landmines from Iraq, who is being heavily supplied and supported with conventional weapons by the United States. Throughout the war, the U.S. contends that Hezbollah,
This one?
Yeah, you can see in the... See, there's a fucking gap in the age range.
Yeah. It seems like it was... I mean, there's a little bit of... male surplus, it seems.
Tactical asset nearby.
No, you gotta see the birth rate decline.
That's 2020.
Yeah, you're looking at, you gotta look at basically 40 years ago. You have to look, you have to count back. So it's birth rates.
I don't know why this is so hard to find.
No, you were just looking at it. That was correct. You're just not reading it correctly. Let me explain. Pull that chart back up. Yes.
This one?
The one you had up, the red and blue.
That one.
Bring that up. Okay, so it's age demographic. So where it dips, that means that those people, like, it's birth prevention. You don't have births in war.
Yes.
So you can see how much the population shrunk because of the war by calculating and counting backwards to how many years ago 1979 and the 1980s were. So you just subtract, that's like 40 years, right? So you look at where the 40 age range is on the graph.
Extraction is available.
Oh my god, hit him. You see it? Can you even hear? You're fixing your mic?
Yeah. It's like
I can't see you because it's
I don't
not
know
zoomed in enough.
what you're saying doesn't make
It's not
sense
zoomed
because
in
the
enough.
40 age range, the 40 age range doesn't have a dip. Like, sure, there's more people aged 30 than there are 40, but there's less. But like, there is no like major dip there.
Where's the
I
dip?
like,
What age
I don't see
range?
what you're saying. 20.
Yeah, so there's less 20-year-olds now. because people weren't having children.
Yeah, okay. But there's also a drop in females.
Yeah,
as well.
it's nobody was having kids because everyone was dying in the war. It was a big after effect. Like you look at the death toll of the war.
There's all this male surplus though. That's what I'm saying. Is like it doesn't. Like they must have had so many more men than women if that was
I'm
the
not
case.
sure.
Don't know.
I'm not like looking
A
at the
Shia
data
Islamist
myself.
militia organization operating out of Lebanon, who is a client of Iran, carried out multiple anti-American terror attacks across the region. In 1983, they carried out a bombing of the U.S. Embassy in Beirut, which killed 17 Americans. And later that same year, they carried out another massive truck bombing attack against the barracks of a military compound in Lebanon, which killed a further 241 American and 58 French soldiers. These events and others contributed to the United States placing Iran on their state sponsors of terrorism list.
They deserved
the following
it.
year in 1984. By April of 1988, the Iran-Iraq War was
Fuck it,
still
I'm just gonna hold
raging,
my
and
microphone.
Iran had mined a large section of the Persian Gulf in order to counter the Iraqi Navy. An American frigate who happened to be passing through struck one of these mines and became severely damaged and almost sank, but with no loss of life. Regardless, America decided to initiate a retaliatory attack against Iranian targets and initiated Operation Praying Mantis. It was the largest U.S. naval combat operation since the Second World War, and it saw two
Is this when the
American
Israelis
surface
pulled
groups
the
launching
USS Liberty?
coordinated strikes that blew up 2 Iranian offshore oil platforms
Was that
and sank
the
6 of
first
their warships.
contact war?
The
Bro, look at the.
Not me.
Look at the
calling-
fucking.
Not me calling the Israeli-Arab war the first contact war.
attack
My arm
destroyed
is
or
fucking
severely
up again.
damaged half of Iran's entire fleet and
Look
killed
at how much
56 Iranians,
craters and
while
smoke there
resulting in
was
only
because I
2
fucking
American deaths.
dropped
Just
in an
3 months later.
tank emplacement and was just shelling this bot drop.
It's pretty funny that half of Iran's navy got destroyed and only 56 people died. That's kind of funny. What a
Later,
small
in
boat.
July of 1988, an American cruiser strayed into Iranian territorial waters and received warning shots fired from Iranian speedboats. At the same time,
fired.
Iran Air Flight
Speedboats.
655, that was taking its normal flight route above from Tehran to
Speedboats.
Dubai, and was at this point flying over Iran's territorial waters above the Strait of Hormuz. The American cruiser misidentified this commercial aircraft as an Iranian fighter jet, and, assuming that they could have been under attack, they launched a missile that targeted and then completely destroyed the whole plane. There were 290 people on board that flight, and 200.
How did I not know about this? That's crazy. That's fucking wild. America shot down a fucking passenger jet? That's fucking nuts.
And 54 of them were Iranians. None of them survived the missile strike, and it was the deadliest aviation shoot-down
My
incident in
fucking
history until the
character's all
horrible
fucked up.
shoot-down of Malaysia Airlines Flight 17
Look, I can't
over
aim.
Ukraine by pro-Russian rebels.
I'm
more than a
my
quarter
arms are
century
locked in
later.
one place.
These
Well,
you see this?
It's true. It was Russians. It was Russians.
Oh, I can turn again. No, I can't. I
MH17
still can't turn.
Russian
You see that?
picture. No, I'm not watching. I'm paying attention to the
Look.
video.
Like, I can't use my gun. I can't aim. It's locked in a straight position.
Oh, that's happened to me before.
Calling in extraction.
I love seeing Russians posing with the airliner that they shot down. Very cool.
They deserved it.
That's always one of the coolest things to see is Russian Nazis posted up in Ukraine sent by Putin during the Donbass war, who shot down MH17 posing with said MH17 wreckage on the ground. Very, very cool. Very moral. Very cool. People support this country, by the way.
deadly events between both sides sharply escalated tensions between America and
Shortly?
Iran, and each felt that the other had done grievous harm towards them. In 1995, the Clinton administration enacted a total embargo on all dealings with Iran by any American-based company, which effectively killed all trade between both countries. In 1996, the Iranian client Hezbollah carried out yet another terror bombing strike against a U.S. target in Saudi Arabia, this time killing 19 American Air Force personnel and wounding nearly 500 others. And then, 5 years after that, came the September 11th attacks. Just 4 months after 9/11, U.S. President Bush made his Axis of Evil speech, in which he loved Iran, Saddam's Iraq.
Now remember, oh my God.
My God. That looks like a second plane. Has
I
just
didn't
hit.
see a plane go in. That just exploded.
And North
just saw
Korea
another plane.
altogether as an axis of evil conspiring against America. Just a little more than a year after that speech, the United States used the pretext of Saddam possessing weapons of mass destruction to invade Iraq and completely toppled his regime in around a month. No weapons of mass destruction were ever uncovered, and the message sent to both Iran and North Korea was clear as day. It was either develop nuclear weapons or you would be next. North Korea managed to successfully test an atomic bomb just 3 years after the American-led invasion of Iraq, while Iran hastily carried out their own nuclear weapons research as well. However, the United States made it clear that a nuclear-armed Iran would never be tolerated, and a combination of sanctions and diplomacy were used for years to try and convince Iran to stop. By 2015, the Obama administration had successfully negotiated the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, better known colloquially.
I have an idea. If I want to do more standing up for our streams,
Bomb Iran?
Yes, I might bomb Iran. I might get some kind of stick, maybe a wooden spoon or something, and tape my microphone to the wooden spoon. Yeah, something like that, so I can hold it so it's not as fucking uncomfortable as it is right now.
As the Iran nuclear deal. The treaty's terms are complex, but the TLDR is that the US agreed to end a sweeping series of sanctions they had previously placed upon Iran, while Iran agreed to give up their pursuit of nuclear research and allowed foreign inspections to routinely investigate them. Iran's and America's relationship was beginning to show some signs of rapprochement. But then, things took another curveball. In 2016, Donald Trump was elected the new president of the United States on a platform that included a vow to fully withdraw the U.S. from the Iran nuclear deal.
Does me holding
and
it
to
give
reinstate
any feedback?
tougher economic
Not
sanctions.
right.
Not really.
In 2018, Trump
Excellent.
carried through with these campaign
Looks like I'm
promises,
holding the microphone
and
like
Iran
this now.
counter-threatened that they would continue on with their nuclear program and even close the Strait of Hormuz to international shipping if things escalated any further, which would have completely crashed the global oil economy. Relations between the two were back to being tense, and then things got even worse the next year. In May and June of 2019, several merchant ships traveling through the Persian Gulf were damaged in 2 separate violent incidents. The West blamed Iran, and then Iran denied all involvement.
Of course
in
they did.
June, Iran shot down an American drone that was flying over the Strait of Hormuz, and tensions increased even further. And then in July,
remember that,
an Iranian
actually.
oil tanker was seized by the UK as it was passing through the Strait of Gibraltar on the grounds that it was shipping oil to the Bashar al-Assad regime in Syria, in direct violation of EU sanctions. Iran countered this by capturing a British oil tanker and taking its crew hostage as it was later passing through the Persian Gulf.
They deserved
Both
it.
sides eventually released the other ships and crew, but it was clear that tensions were reaching a boiling point. And then they dramatically escalated near the end of the year. On the 27th of December 2019, a rocket artillery attack from some assailant on America's K-1 military base in Iraq left
Right.
1 U.S.
If
civilian
you say
contractor
they deserve
dead
it,
and 4
when
other
it's
soldiers
actually
wounded.
something that's
America blamed the
deserving,
attack
you're
on
gonna ruin the
Hezbollah and
joke.
other Shiite Islamist militias supported
Then
by
we won't be
Iran,
able to
though both
say
Hezbollah and
they
Iran
deserve
denied all
it
responsibility.
when it's
At this
fucking
point, there were about
Palestinian babies.
5,000 U.S. troops who were stationed in Iraq who were helping in the ongoing fight against ISIL. And
Bro said ISIL.
People shipping oil don't deserve it. I said it about the British.
Oh, I thought it was about Iran getting attacked.
No, I said it about the British tanker getting taken.
And 2 days later, on the 29th, they decided to initiate a retaliatory strike against Hezbollah's weapons depots and command centers across both Iraq and Syria. These American airstrikes killed 25 Hezbollah-affiliated militiamen and wounded nearly 60 others,
Wait, what did I
escalating
just say?
things even further.
Look, if you can't say it when they actually deserve it, you'll ruin the joke, and we can't do it when Palestinian kids get bombed.
A couple days after that, on December the 31st, Iran-backed militiamen stormed and attacked the United States Embassy in Baghdad. The embassy was heavily vandalized, but nobody on either side was killed, and the U.S. blamed Iran once again for the provocation. And then came the 3rd of January 2020, when the already high tensions skyrocketed to levels never seen before. Qasem Soleimani, an Iranian major general widely believed to be the second most powerful figure within the Iranian regime, had just arrived in Baghdad on a
Really getting some fucking use out of that soundbite.
It depends on the conflict, you know?
flight. He was scheduled to meet with Iraq's prime minister later on in the day, but as he departed the Baghdad airport in a convoy of vehicles, a U.S. drone that had been hovering nearby overhead fired a series of missiles that completely...
Wish I had the Obama soundbite at the moment.
destroyed them. This missile strike had been personally authorized and ordered by President Donald Trump.
I love that was
and resulted
so that was the fucking press
to kill a U.S. civilian.
Yeah,
with a
but
drone
so like
or a
him
shotgun.
making those drone strike jokes. That's why that fucking edit is so devastating that I made. You have to think about at the time, right?
Yeah.
He had just killed U.S. citizens in Yemen, and he was going, Jonas Brothers, better watch out for my girls. I got 2 words for you. Predator drones. Like, I've already killed... The joke is, I've already killed American citizens, and they deserved it. You know? Wild joke to make at the press conference.
Extrajudicially, too.
And I'm just sitting here watching it like,
crazy.
are we for real? Who approved this joke?
Honestly, banger joke.
So I started
That is...
I started editing together all his press conferences about defending bombing the American citizens.
Like that is big dick energy right there.
Saying that you'll drone strike the Jonas Brothers?
No, it's like after you just extrajudicially drone striked an American citizen, saying you're next, Jonas Brothers. I'm a kill these kids.
The kid technically wasn't a terrorist, but it's Anwar al-Awlaki's kid, so
yes, yeah.
The dude was a serious
yes, he was.
Like rhetoric guy, recruiter, major Al-Qaeda force.
That's why they got him. I mean, that's why they were in Yemen. AQ Corps, was it not? They were in Yemen, no?
Yeah, well, it's because it was the Arabian Peninsula.
Yeah.
Resulted in the deaths of Soleimani and 9 others. This event profoundly changed the crisis between Iran and the United States. It was the first time that America had assassinated a major military leader of a major foreign country since the plot to kill Isoroku Yamamoto of the Japanese Imperial Navy back in 1943, who had been the mastermind of the Pearl Harbor attacks. 2 days later, Iran announced that it would no longer abide by any of the terms of the 2015 nuclear deal and demanded that Iraq remove all of the American presence from their country. And then, on the 8th of January, 5 days after Soleimani's death, Iran launched its own retaliatory strike against America.
How'd that work
Codenamed
out?
Operation Martyr Soleimani, Iran initiated
That's a shit
multiple
name.
ballistic missile
Show
strikes
the name.
against 2
Show the
U.S.
fucking-
military bases
show
within
the
Iraq,
animation.
and the entire world held its breath. This was the closest that America and Iran had ever come to full-scale war, and the crisis could have easily escalated into that. America had already...
It's just so funny, because I reckon that the Nimitz carrier strike group could probably take down Iran without launching a plane.
Well, now that Israel's neutralized a lot of their proxies, that's the thing. It's just like... We weren't looking at it as a perspective where Israel would launch all these strikes on their proxies. Like
No, we weren't.
Like, a lot of analysts' stuff has to
Missed
be
that?
thrown out.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Fuck, I grabbed a commando.
You are 100% correct. So many people are recalculating right now. That's a really good point.
Already rapidly deployed thousands of soldiers to the
And
Persian
we've also
Gulf from the
seen
U.S. East Coast in the days.
what Iran is capable of responding with to Israel.
Yes, true. Like we a lot has come into the purview the last few months. A lot of stuff has come to light.
Now. Oh, look at you, Japata. You're so beautiful.
Is between Soleimani's death and this Iranian artillery attack, but thankfully, nobody was killed by it. The bases experienced significant damage to buildings and infrastructure,
Oh,
but
did you get
everybody
a
present
concussy-wussy?
remained alive. And this was sort of a godsend, because it gave both Iran and America the opportunity to de-escalate without losing any face. Iran got to look strong and powerful by firing rockets at American targets,
This
and
guy
without any
acknowledges
casualties,
space.
America was given the option not to
That it's all
retaliate,
fake.
which is what they chose to do. Unfortunately, though, tragedy still managed to find a way to strike. While Iran likely designed the attack intentionally to not cause any American casualties, Iran didn't necessarily know that the US wasn't going to retaliate, and their anti-air batteries across the country were on high alert for any kind of response. One of these missile batteries
or have been sleeping under a rock.
Friendo.
I don't know. Like,
This BB
it's about to
motherfucker
get
better not blow
ridiculous
up
here.
my
The
nuclear
president's
shit.
about to address the nation concerning the
They're
strike
gone,
on
sir.
the Iranian.
Call my
nuclear
generals.
facilities. Guardian, appreciate you, man.
They're dead, sir.
It's dude, this is about to be crazy.
Hey,
I'm
Kagan,
sure that
I
a lot
also
of you have
like
been
Rod.
anticipating this. They're about to go live here on the White House YouTube channel, and he's going to address the
I have
nation
one of those,
concerning
too.
the strikes that were conducted in Iran. So we'll see what happens. There's going to be I don't know what's going to happen. I don't think anybody really knows what's coming next, but there's a lot that people are going to be anticipating, I'm sure. I don't even know where to begin. You know, it's going to be big. This is no small thing. So we'll all be here together watching this happen.
It's fun.
Yeah, it's gonna be nuts.
He's stoked. He's fucking stoked. You can see in his face. He's very, very happy about this.
Looks like they're running behind a little bit. We'll see what happens here. This is I don't know when the last time we struck facilities in a sovereign nation before, or not before, but when the last time was that we conducted strikes on a sovereign nation. So it
happens all the time, my dude. What do you mean?
Going to be interesting to see what they say. I'm sure a lot of people are waiting.
The U.S. is eating tomahawks all the time. All the
They
fucking
yeeted
time.
a bunch in this strike. We used our Ohio subs.
Like, yeah, I saw that. 36 tomahawks or something. 48 maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Might be 36. They might have used their whole barrage from 3 subs. I think I heard. What hasn't the Navy? Isn't Yemen a sovereign nation? And isn't Yemen constantly getting struck by the U.S. Navy? Like, come on, dude. As I said, the U.S. has never stopped doing this. Literally never stopped. How many fucking strikes in the Golden Zone are there? Striking sovereign nations. I guess he's talking about facilities. But, like, the strike on the Houthis, like, 2 months ago was a strike on facilities in a sovereign nation.
To see this. A lot of people are wondering what's going to happen with this. So they should be starting their live here pretty soon. Let's see. Looks like they're still, it says it's live right now, but they haven't began yet. So they're going to begin shortly.
For their targets in the world will have a fever.
Yo, I thought that was going to be longer. That was only like a couple minutes. Dude, that's... Oh, bro.
He didn't even
That's a
show the
lot.
press conference.
That's
He
a
cut
lot.
it out.
He did.
Dude, this is
He did.
this
I
is
skipped it.
Let's see
It was
what's
already
going on.
watched it. I didn't like skip it fully because I wanted to see if he was actually saying something, but he just watched it fully, and I assumed that he's gonna gather his thoughts and say something now, so I just skipped it.
Juventus, Italy, and a friend of mine.
Okay, that was a different one. Yeah, sorry. Jeez. Okay, what's going on over here Let's see.
Yeah, we bombed them.
There's gonna be a
they can go fuck themselves.
Tomorrow
Goodbye.
At 8 o'clock in the morning. I don't know if I'll be up. I'm gonna try to get up so I can watch it. That was a big mic drop. Yeah, big mic drop, dude. That was really quick. That was a lot faster than I anticipated. I'm glad we were on when we were on, because that was over really fast. Looks like there's a lot. Twitter is, or X is just going crazy right now. But yeah, Trump,
Bro
or the
corrected
president
himself
just
and said
announced
X.
there's going to be a
That's so
press
cringe.
conference tomorrow at 08 with the SecDef and the chairman of the Joint Chiefs. Probably a lot more
that
details are
should
going to be released
be out now.
about the actual operation tomorrow. With that,
If we wanna
let's
look up
see.
that.
I think the Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, Prime Minister of Israel, I think posted something about it as well. Let's see.
Your bold decision
Hold on. Let's hear what he had to say. All right.
to target.
What do you want me to look up?
Press conference.
Which one?
The one that just happened from the White House.
Oh, okay. Different one? Than
Yeah,
what we
he just
saw?
said there was one
Okay.
taking place at 8 o'clock today. It's 9 now.
Okay. I'll have a look after we get through this one, because this is only a short video.
Target Iran's nuclear. Congratulations, President Trump. Your bold decision to target Iran's nuclear facilities with the awesome and righteous might of the United States
Cringe,
will
cringe.
change history.
Kinda fashy.
In Operation Rising Lion, Israel has done truly amazing things. But in tonight's action against Iran's nuclear facilities,
Your dick is so much
America
bigger
has
than
been
mine,
truly
President Trump.
unsurpassed.
And your bums are so
It
much
is
bigger
done
than mine could be. Bigger than mine. Oh. The fuck just happened?
But no other country on earth.
Sorry, my
could do.
headphone fell out. Paused it.
History will record that President Trump acted to deny the world's most dangerous regime the world's most dangerous weapons. His leadership today has created a pivot of history that can help lead the Middle East and beyond to a future of prosperity and peace. President Trump and I often say peace through strength. First comes strength, then comes peace. And tonight, President Trump and the United States acted with a lot of strength. President Trump, I thank you. The people of Israel thank you. The forces of civilization thank you. God bless America. God
Cringe.
bless Israel. And may God bless our unshakable alliance, our unbreakable faith.
Oh man, there's a lot happening. I don't know if there's any. I wonder if there's like some video of any of this. I don't know if there's any video recorded of the actual act. Oh wow, I don't know. Let's see here. So according to Raw's alerts on X, it says that Iran has announced that it will pursue legal action against the United States attacks. Legal action. Interesting. I wonder.
AK, we ain't gonna do shit.
There's another. Oh no, don't do that. No. Let's see here. There's dude. Let's see. This is another good page. If you don't follow this page on X, they post a lot of real-time stuff that's happening out there, pretty quickly, pretty rapidly, about the ongoing situation. I don't know who this person is. It's an anonymous intel page, but they do a lot of good reporting. So
What page is
let's
it?
see. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff happening. Good reporting. So is this an anonymous that's happening out there?
Open source intel.
Follow this page on X. They post a lot of real-time stuff that's happening out there, pretty quickly, pretty rapidly, about the ongoing situation. I don't know who this person is. It's an anonymous intel page, but they do a lot of good reporting. So let's see. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff happening tonight, man. A lot of stuff. This is it's getting wild. It's getting wild. I think the thing that I'm most concerned about now is that, you know, as a result, well, not as a result, but like in response to this, like what's Iran going to do in response to this? That's my biggest concern, you know, because I think the thing that I'm most worried about, honestly, is like lone wolf attacks on the continental United States.
From the immigrants.
From people that might have slipped in through the border.
Got it.
That is definitely a concern. I'm
Bro,
sure that
you
a
are
lot of
so
other people think
weaponized
that's a
to the
concern
narrative.
as well. And definitely
Yeah,
concerned about
the
our
Iranian
troops
fucking
overseas
super
right now.
agents
And I know that a lot
undetected
of
through the
people,
border.
Who are out there, their families that are
One
out
of
there,
the most
you know,
surveilled
our hearts go
terrorist
out
groups.
to
They're just
you
slipping
all
them in
who are
here
out there forward deployed
every
right
day,
now.
more
So,
and
you know,
more. Pour
you
through.
guys be safe. And I can promise you right now that most of us back here in America are thinking about you. And we wish you nothing but the best and hope for your success and for your safe return to the United States. So, you know, I'm sure that the CENTCOM AOR is very bustling with activity right now with everybody that's still out there. And I know that it's a high stress situation. Rain Man, what's up, man? The high stress situation. You know, the sleeper cells thing, yeah. That's what a lot of people are concerned about. There's a real possibility that there may be some sort of retaliation strikes or attacks.
Oh my God.
And some of it may be lone wolf, some of it may
Watch
be
out, the
coordinated.
immigrants are gonna get us.
But
good thing we
there's
deported
gonna
all
be-
of them,
There's
huh?
gonna be something. There, I would be very surprised if nothing happened as a result. I would be very surprised. So, you know, be extra cautious, be extra aware and alert of things around you. And I'm not going to be doing
Be
any
afraid
traveling
of your
for a
everyday
while
life.
because a lot of weird stuff. We're in a real murky area, you know. So it's definitely it's going to be an interesting period of time here. I wonder if there's any other. I wonder if is the Department of Defense going to post anything about this? I wonder. I don't think so. I think everybody's pretty much was just like waiting for the president's live stream to see what he was going to say. But it's yeah, pretty much. Let me see here if I can find out a little bit about this stuff here. All right. Yeah, everybody stay safe out there wherever you're at, especially if you're forward deployed right now. Yeah, so as all of you are very well aware right now, on June 21st, 2025, the United States conducted military strikes on 3 Iranian nuclear facilities, Fordo, Natanz, and Isfahan, which is a significant escalation because we haven't been directly involved until right now. And the president said that they were very successful in crippling Iran's nuclear program. And he just addressed the nation, which is what we were watching earlier. And the operation involved B-2 stealth bombers deploying GBU-57 massive ordnance penetrators, or bunker buster bombs. Apparently, 6 of those bunker busters were used on the heavily fortified Fordo site, and 30 Tomahawk cruise missiles were targeting Natanz and Isfahan. Apparently, the strikes were coordinated with Israel following a week of Israeli airstrikes on the Iranian nuclear and military targets, and also their air defenses, which likely pave the way for the United States to be able to be capable of conducting this mission pretty much unimpeded, because all of their air defenses were completely crippled after a week of strikes from Israel. Iran's Atomic Energy Organization condemned the attack as a savage assault and a violation of international law, and has vowed to continue its nuclear program. So this has not dissuaded them. So far, Iranian state media has reported that the sites were evacuated prior to the strikes, suggesting that they had limited knowledge, but that they knew that something was coming. An Iranian official also confirmed that part of Fordo was hit. See, Iran's foreign minister had previously warned of retaliation if the U.S. intervened, which has raised fears of a broader regional conflict. The U.S. has reached out diplomatically post-strike, signaling no further attacks or regime change plans so far, but the tensions are still pretty high, as you might imagine. It's like the strikes have divided U.S. lawmakers. Republicans like Senators John Barrasso and Ted Cruz praised the action as necessary to counter Iran's nuclear threat, while Democrats, including House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, criticized the president for contradicting his anti-interventionist stance. And then congressional debates over war powers and the risk of Iranian retaliation are ongoing right now. Apparently, global markets are bracing for potential oil price spikes and economic fallout as a result
Fuck
of
them.
this.
Who gives a shit about them?
But we'll see. We'll see what happens with that.
Not the oil market.
So that's where we're at.
What are we gonna do?
It's gonna be a interesting next few days here. I'm
We've
sure
got
that
to
CENTCOM
have
is on high alert,
money.
like extremely high alert. I'm sure they've been prepping for this for a while because people talk, they communicate, they're letting everybody know. You know, Hi, what's up, man? Appreciate you. Trying to stay on top of everything. It's a lot, you know. Trying to just like put the facts out and tell people what's happening, keep people informed. Because especially during times like these, it's very important to stay informed. You know, it's important to know what's going on around you. But yeah, there's a bunch of like photos from the Situation Room. I think. See, it's another good buddy of mine. He does really good work. Let's see. No, that's not it. Here we go. Photos released by the White House showing U.S. President Donald Trump and other senior officials, including the Vice President, Secretary of State, National Security Advisor Marco Rubio, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, and Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff General Dan Kane in the Situation Room during tonight's series of strikes against nuclear facilities. So this is inside of the Situation Room right here when it was happening. Yeah, I imagine that was a very tense meeting. Yeah, you can see the seriousness. Yeah. Man. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot, man. But I don't know what's going to happen next, but I'm sure that as things develop and unfold, that we will probably find out. Why is World War III trending right now? Look at this.
Gee, I wonder.
Check this out. I'll show you this. Right now, World
What a
War
dumb
III
question. Why is World War III
It's
trending
the top
right
trending
now?
thing on X, or one of the top trending. And then, why Death to America is another one? That's so crazy. Man. Okay. Well,
Wonder why.
That was the big thing I wanted to do, is at least share this with everybody. You know, I appreciate everybody joining. Appreciate you guys coming in here and being here while we were live watching it. That was like, that all unfolded right here while we were here. And
right here.
Pretty rapidly developing situation. So we'll see what happens. It's gonna be an interesting, like I said, it's gonna be an interesting next few days, seeing what happens here. But anyway, if you missed this video or you missed this live stream, I'll post it to my YouTube so that you guys can see everything. And I appreciate you guys joining. Again, I appreciate you guys coming in here and watching this with me, and you know, being here for this, being present for this thing. I don't know where this is going to lead us. And I'm sure a lot of people are probably very stressed about this, but my hope is that there can be some sort of a resolution that doesn't end in catastrophe for everybody. So, yeah, knowing is...
There's no press conference. There is no thing.
Maybe he was doing it from his time zone.
Don't know. Well, my guess is Israel, but the title says nobody knows who, so Korean Peninsula maybe? Near China? China will deny it, North Korea will deny it, I don't know. Not sure.
From other listening posts and stuff
In
like
America.
that, as well as using a bit of triangle. And
South Africa doesn't have nuclear weapons, do they?
No.
I didn't think so. It would have to be France then. That would make the only logical sense.
You're covering it up. It's too close to you.
Oh, too close. Is that better?
Yeah.
Interesting. So if it's too close, it's
Yeah,
worse?
that's way too.
So
That's
strange.
awful.
That's so interesting. I will keep that in mind. I will hold it right here, I guess. I'm gonna have fun. Just hang it. Oh, yup. Is me like handling it creating feedback issues?
You can
or-
hear anything anytime you move, but it's not bad. If you're
Mm,
covering
okay.
the top, like your hand was literally over it and you're holding it against your face.
Yeah, okay. Interesting. So like you can hear that.
Yeah, but it's not loud.
Yeah, okay. Because like that's just me holding it. Like I don't imagine you'd hear anything while I'm just holding it, but if I like readjust my fingers like that, you can probably hear it.
A little, but it's not.
Okay, that's not too bad.
The average person won't care.
Totally viable.
Freddy had a slap.
Oh, nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Well, let me see if I can find the press conference real quick.
Yeah, please do, because I was just gonna say we'll probably end it after this because I'm getting tired. Or if you're gonna keep streaming, you can keep streaming. Which is probably not a bad idea. And if
Pentagon
you're
holds briefing after Iran strikes. Go to Fox News.
Pentagon. I searched White House.
Yeah, go to Fox News.
Pentagon.
Just go to Fox News.
Briefing. Fox. Reading. Pentagon holds briefing. Awful audio.
Right here.
The most powerful military has ever known. No other country on planet Earth could have conducted the operation that the chairman is going to
Operation.
Hey, Pete Hegseth, my dude, Nazi in chief. Hey,
you look like a bird.
Netanyahu said, literally verbatim. So I guess the what is this fuckwit's role? Department of Defense.
Hi, Japata.
What's his fucking name? I think that's what it is.
Japata's going through it right now.
Whatever this fuckwit's title is, why is the chief of whatever the fuck he's the chief of repeating literally the same thing as the Israeli president? Sounds sus.
Going through it.
outlined this morning. Not even close.
Uh-huh.
Just like Soleimani found out in the first term. Iran found out when POTUS says 60 days that he seeks peace and negotiation. He means 60 days of peace and negotiation. Otherwise, that nuclear program, that nuclear capability will not exist. He meant it. This
sounds like a
is
fascist.
not the previous administration. President Trump said no nukes. He seeks peace, and Iran should take that path. He sent out a truth last night.
War is peace, baby.
Saying this: any retaliation by Iran against the United States of America will be met with force far greater.
War is peace,
than what was
baby.
witnessed tonight. Signed, the President of the United States, Donald
Cringe.
J. Trump. Iran would be smart to heed those words. He's said it before, and he means it. I want to give recognition.
Be funny if they
to the
impeached
Chairman
him.
of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the Joint
Trump,
Staff,
I mean.
General Eric Kurilla at CENTCOM.
Who?
Who did a phenomenal job, he and his staff. All of CENTCOM. Policy, across the board, this was a joint effort, and across the Pentagon effort. I want to recognize the pilots who flew those bombers.
He's a pilot.
Yeah, he's a pilot. Good. Warriors. I want to recognize the sailors on those destroyers, in those subs, on those carriers.
those homos.
All of them.
They took their dicks out of their mouth for 5 minutes, long enough to send tomahawks.
Warriors, all of them. Every American involved in this operation performed flawlessly.
Fill my fart box up with some of your monster cum.
Recognition to our allies in Israel as well.
Somebody needs to tell her that her pussy stinks.
Months and weeks of positioning and preparation so that we could be ready when the President of the United States called. It took a great deal of precision, it involved misdirection, and the highest of operational security. Our B-2s went
So Signal? You sent the plans through Signal, didn't you?
in and out of downtown Tehran, not Tehran, excuse me, of these nuclear sites, in and out and back without the world knowing at all.
Everybody
And that way
knew.
It was historic. A strike that included the longest B-2 Spirit bomber mission since 2001 and the first operational employment of the MOP, a massive ordnance penetrator. The mission demonstrated to the world the level of joint and allied integration that speak to the strength of our alliance and our joint forces. As President Trump has stated, the United States does not seek war, but let me be clear. We will act swiftly and decisively when our
But we will bomb you.
our partners, or our interests are threatened.
We
Iran
hate
should
war,
listen
but
to
we
the
love
President of the
bombs.
United States and know that he means it.
Don't respond, or else.
Congratulations to our Commander-in-Chief. It was an honor to watch him lead last night and throughout, and to our great American warriors on this successful operation.
Cringe.
God bless our troops. God bless America.
Stan
We
says
give
you're a
glory to
cunt.
God for his providence and continue
Shut up, cunt.
to ask for his protection.
Shut the
I turn
fuck
it over
up.
Now, the chairman. For
Hi,
specifics.
everybody.
Thank you,
Actual
Mr. Secretary. Thanks for recognizing
I love Hitler.
our folks out there doing our nation's work, and nice to see everybody on this early Sunday morning. Last night, on the President's orders, U.S. Central
Show me your
Command,
bag of
under
secrets.
command of General Eric Kurilla, executed
Eric Kurilla.
Operation Midnight Hammer, a deliberate and
You are
precise
constitutionally
strike
incapable of
against
not shutting the fuck up.
nuclear
My brother,
facilities.
this is
This
Haro.
was a complex and high-risk mission
Hoggers!
carried out with exceptional skill and discipline by our joint force. I want to thank every service member, planner,
I want to
operator
thank
that made
you.
this mission possible. Their
Thank you
actions
for
reflect
being
the
a
highest standards
friend.
of the United States Armed Forces. This operation was designed to severely degrade Iran's nuclear weapons infrastructure. It was planned and executed across multiple domains and theaters with coordination that reflects our ability to project power globally with speed and precision at the time and place of our nation's choosing. This was a highly classified mission with very few people in Washington knowing the timing or nature of this plan. I'll refer you to the graphic on the side as I walk you through some of the operational details. At midnight Friday into Saturday morning, a large B-2 strike package comprised of bombers launched from the continental United States. As part of a plan to maintain tactical surprise, part of the package proceeded to the west and into the Pacific as a decoy, a deception effort known only to an extremely small number of planners and key leaders here in Washington and in Tampa. The main strike package, comprised of 7 B-2 Spirit bombers, each with 2 crew members, proceeded quietly.
See, that guy
with
who
minimal
people were saying
communication.
might have saw him reported 9.
Throughout the 18-hour flight into the
Remember how I
the
said
aircraft
don't trust
completed
this, it's just
multiple
some guy?
in-flight refuelings.
Yep.
Once over land, the B-2s linked up with escort and support aircraft in a complex, tightly timed maneuver requiring exact synchronization across multiple platforms in a narrow piece of airspace, all done with minimal communications. This type of integration is exactly what our joint force does better than anyone else in the world. At approximately 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time last night, and just prior to the strike package entering Iran, a U.S. submarine in the Central Command Area of Responsibility launched more than 24 Tomahawk land attack cruise missiles against key surface infrastructure targets at Isfahan. As the Operation Midnight Hammer strike package entered Iranian airspace, the U.S. employed several deception tactics, including decoys, as the 4th and 5th generation aircraft pushed out in front of the strike package at high altitude and high speed, sweeping in front of the package for enemy fighters and surface-to-air missile threats.
Right, their fighters are gone.
The strike package was supported by U.S. Strategic Command, U.S. Transportation Command, U.S. Cyber Command,
US
Space
Transcom
Command, U.S. Space Force, and U.S. European Command. As the strike package approached Bordeaux and Natanz, the U.S. protection package employed high-speed suppression weapons to ensure safe passage of the strike package, with fighter assets employing preemptive suppressing fires against any potential
Two-person
Iranian
door over here. I'm going to
surface-to-air
drop
threats.
a
We are currently unaware
support weapon
of
so we can
any
find it
shots
later.
fired at the U.S. strike package.
Hey, that's a good idea.
At approximately 6:40 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 2:10 a.m. Iran time, the lead B-2 dropped 2 GBU-57
Two of them.
massive ordnance penetrator weapons on the first
Yeah,
of several
they dropped
aim
6
points at
bombs.
Bordeaux.
Damn, I really wanted to get that fucking base.
That's what I heard. We'll see after this press conference what the details actually are.
Mops dropped against 2 nuclear target areas. All 3 Iranian nuclear infrastructure targets were struck between 6:40 p.m. and 7:05 p.m. Eastern time. Again, that's about 2:10 in the morning.
Right in the morning.
Local time in Iran.
Good morning.
The Tomahawk missiles being the last to strike at Esfahan to ensure we retain the element of surprise throughout the operation. Following weapons release, the Midnight Hammer strike package exited Iranian airspace and the package began its return home. We are unaware of any shots fired at the package on the way out. Iran's
My package is
fighters
massive.
did not fly, and it appears that Iran's surface-to-air missile systems did not see us.
Lol.
Throughout the mission, we retained the element
Wrecked,
of surprise.
nerd.
In total, U.S. forces employed approximately 75 precision-guided weapons during this operation. This included, as the President stated last night, 14 30,000-pound GBU-57 massive ordnance penetrators, marking the first ever operational use of this weapon.
Trump officially, the Peaceful Dove, has been the first person to drop 2 of the biggest bombs ever designed.
That's right. Did he drop the Moab too?
Yeah, he dropped it on Daesh, which was a good move, but
Yeah. I agree. That's pretty cool.
Takes some time, but initial battle damage
No
assessments
need for the penetrator with fucking Daesh.
yeah, they couldn't dig deep enough.
Yeah, exactly.
indicate that all 3 sites sustained
It was an
extremely
airburst
severe
even to
damage
take out that tunnel
and
network.
destruction. More than 125 U.S. aircraft participated in this mission, including B-2 stealth bombers, multiple flights of 4th and 5th generation fighters, dozens and dozens of air refueling tankers, a guided missile submarine.
The drone's great because I can throw it out in front of me while I'm running away from shit and just trust the drone will turn around and kill them.
As well as hundreds of maintenance
Trust
and
in drone.
operational professionals. As the Secretary said, this was the largest B-2 operational strike in U.S. history and the second longest B-2 mission ever flown, exceeded only by those in the days following 9/11. Well prior to the strike, General Kurilla elevated force protection measures across the region, especially in Iraq, Syria, and the Gulf.
I think I just hit a tank from behind with a drone.
Have a look at this. Oh, let me turn the background
Nope,
off.
he's still alive.
Look. Look at these two.
Oh, perfect spear. Uh-oh.
Look at the screen.
I see them.
Look at them. They're fucking adorable little fucks.
Our forces remain on high
Our
alert
forces
and are fully postured to respond to
Postured.
any Iranian retaliation or proxy attacks, which
Why'd he
would be
talk
an
like that?
incredibly poor choice. We
I don't know.
will defend ourselves.
He's got issues.
The safety
This shit's
of our
all
service
retarded.
members and civilians remains our highest priority. This mission demonstrates the unmatched reach, coordination, and capability of the United States military.
That
In
is
just
true.
a matter of weeks, this went from strategic planning to global execution. This operation underscores the unmatched capabilities.
Imagine
and
being a
global
tiny
reach of the
robot
United
and
States
taking an
military.
anti-tank
As the
emplacement
president
round to the
clearly
chest.
said last night, no other military in the world could have done this. I join the president and the secretary
And our
in being
penises are so
incredibly
big.
proud of the air crews, naval
We have
forces,
such massive
cyber
dingers.
operators, planners, and support teams, and
Our
commanders
penises are
who
like
made
our
this mission
bombs.
possible.
Ginormous.
It is their skill, discipline, and teamwork that makes this operation possible. I am particularly proud of our discipline related to operational security, something that was of great concern to the president
looking
the
for
Secretary General
Bro's
Kurilla
got the
and me, and we will
Mandarin
continue
voice.
to focus.
Some
That's
people
fucking
call me a
hilarious.
terrorist. Who are we watching who had
on
that
this.
voice?
As we stand.
It was some guy overreading something.
Yeah. God, I can't fucking remember.
Some people call me a
Here
terrorist.
this morning, many assets
I
are
saw
still
that movie in
airborne,
theaters.
and we have hundreds
So there you go
deployed.
about
I ask
how
that we
much
keep our
Marvel's movie
warfighters
fell
on
off
their
for
way
me.
home and our deployed service member in our thoughts.
You fucker.
Our joint force remains ready to defend the United States, our troops, and our interests in the region. Thank you very much.
We will take a few questions.
So, is regime change off the table, Mr. Secretary? And to the chairman, you said the battle damage assessment is still ongoing, but do you believe that some nuclear capability in Iran remains?
This mission was not and has not been about regime
What's going
change.
on?
The
I'm
president
warping through terrain.
authorized a precision operation to neutralize the threats to our national interests posed by the Iranian nuclear program and the collective self-defense of our troops and our ally Israel.
Fuck Israel.
Thanks for your question. I think BDA is still pending, and it would be way too early for me to comment on what may or may not still be there. But thanks for the question.
Green. Green. No, behind you.
Excuse me, Mr. Secretary, can you tell me, was there a particular moment when the president decided to pull the trigger on this operation where he said, now, rather than being something in the holster, now we're going to pull the trigger on it?
I would just say, having the opportunity to witness his leadership, he was fully committed to the peace process.
Fuck his dick harder.
Wanted a negotiated outcome, gave Iran every single opportunity, and unfortunately was met by stonewalling, which is why he gave them plenty of time to continue to come to the table and give up enrichment, give up the nuclear program. But there was I won't say the particular moment, there was certainly a moment in time where he realized that it had to be a certain action taken in order to minimize the threat to us and our troops. Yeah.
General, you say that General Kurilla increased force protection in Iraq, Syria, and Gulf, in those areas. Were they given any advance warning the attacks were coming? And also, Mr. Secretary, when were congressional leaders notified? How long before the attacks took place?
Congressional leaders were not
notified. To your first question, the risk has clearly been rising over the last few weeks in the region. Based on that, and not a particular awareness of this operation, we've made smart decisions to minimize the risk to U.S. forces in the region.
There were no advance warning?
No, sir.
And congressional...
They were notified after the planes were safely out. Well, we complied with the notification requirements of the War Powers Act.
They were notified.
They were immediately thereafter. Yes.
Thank you, Secretary. Two quick questions. Do you believe you completely destroyed Iranian nuclear program? And how about Iranian ballistic missiles? Your ally Israel always saying that is biggest threat. And second question is very important. What will be your next step if Iran or militias under Iranian influence in the region attack U.S. interests or allies in the region?
And you can chime in on this too, Mr. Chairman. The battle damage assessment is ongoing, but our initial assessment, as the chairman said, is that all of our precision munitions struck where we wanted them to strike and had the desired effect, which means especially in Fordo, which was the primary target here, we believe we achieved destruction of capabilities there. Ultimately, wherever it may be, whether it's in Iraq or Syria or bases in the Gulf, as the president said, it would be as the chairman said, it would be a very bad idea for Iran or its proxies to attempt to attack American forces.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Regarding retaliations, Iran and North Korea are cooperating on nuclear and missile development. Do you think there is a possibility that Iran, North Korea, and the other forces, such as China, will join forces to retaliate against the United States?
Well, unfortunately, because of the policies under the previous administration, we drove those countries together, and ultimately that creates a challenging environment.
Hey, Pete.
For this particular operation, the focus is...
Champ. Who empowered North Korea again? Who stepped over that line and fucked it up? Because he wanted that photo op instead of actually doing something of value. Donald Trump went for a photo op
Still got
instead
him.
of actually like bringing down, not necessarily bringing down, but like tempering North Korea. Instead, driving them closer to China, closer to Russia, closer to Iran. It wasn't Biden. That was Trump. I don't recall Biden ever doing anything about North Korea because that's China's problem now. And China's been doing a pretty good job at keeping Kim Jong-un fucking not launching missiles over Japan. So
This BB motherfucker better not blow up my nuclear shit.
I don't know, man. It's fucking...
Where are my generals? They're dead, sir.
Is on Iran and Iranian nuclear capabilities. That's our focus here, is to not just say that they can't have, but President Trump has said from over 20 years, frankly, Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. And ultimately, he decided this is the moment,
Trump
given
said
their
that.
stonewalling,
I don't believe
when
him.
direct
I don't believe you.
military action had to be
No!
taken to prevent that from happening. Yes.
Thank you very much. General Kane, I understand OPSEC, I respect OPSEC. Can you say at all what security procedures are being taken to protect U.S. troops in Iraq and elsewhere in the Middle East? And Secretary Hegseth, as a global war on terrorism veteran, what do you say to veterans who may be concerned the U.S. is getting into another open-ended war in the Middle East over weapons of mass destruction?
Thanks, sir, for the question. I won't comment on what force protection measures are being taken in the region. What I will say is we're being proactive and not reactive, and being very thoughtful about ensuring that we do all that we can to protect our forces out there.
And I would just say, as the president has directed and made clear, this is most certainly not open-ended. It doesn't mean it limits our ability to respond. We will respond if necessary. The most powerful military in the world is postured and prepared to defend our people. But what the president gave us, as I said, was a focused, powerful, and clear mission on the destruction of Iranian...
How is serving Israeli interests protecting the American people? You're a joke.
Nuclear capabilities. Those were the targets. That's what was struck. That was overwhelming. That's what was overwhelming. That's what the Iranian regime needs to understand, as the president put out last night. He wants peace. There needs to be a negotiated settlement here. We ultimately demonstrated that Iran
Oh my
does not have
God.
nuclear capability. That is a very clear mission set on this operation. Yes. Hold on. Yes, right there.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Question for the Secretary and the Chairman. How was this strike coordinated with the Israelis on a strategic level, militarily, and on a tactical level? Was there any direct Israeli military participation in this operation?
Well, I would say certainly Israel had an incredible military success, especially at the beginning and ongoing, in degrading Iranian capabilities, in degrading Iranian launchers, MRBMs. It's been incredible to watch what our ally Israel has been able to do. And there certainly have been conversations. I mean, General Kurilla at CENTCOM has worked closely in the defense of Israel for many years. And part of this operation was the defense of Israel and the ongoing defense of Israel. But as it pertains to this strike, this was U.S. operated and U.S. led.
We took advantage of some of the preparatory work that's been done over the past week and a half in terms of axis of approach. I won't get into the particulars, but as the Secretary said, it was a U.S. strike. We made sure we were not in the same piece of airspace and sky. Aside from that, that was the extent of it.
We'll take a couple more. Yeah, right there.
Question to the Secretary first. Are you concerned whatsoever now about the reaction from U.S. allies given the strike, particularly those in the Gulf? And to the Chairman, if I may, I understand you don't want to speak to specific assets or force protection measures, but do you anticipate at least having to bring in any further assets from other theaters to aid in force protection over the coming days?
We certainly understand the challenges of allies in the region, and we have been respectful and in working in collaboration with them as it pertains to basing and sensitivities there. Ultimately, they've got a lot of assets and people in those locations also where American troops are co-located. So that's a consideration of ours. We've been in close consultation with them, and we appreciate the support that we have got.
Thanks for the question on sort of the global picture, and as you know, that's one of my jobs is to look globally at the entire range of challenges. We are always carefully considering our force posture around the world and then offering options to the Secretary and to the President. I won't comment on any future things, but the American people should know that we carefully consider those moves around the world and try to modulate as needed our force structure in the region.
Yeah, right here.
Thank you. What communications are being sent to the Iranians right now, and is there any possibility of diplomacy now or in the coming days?
I can only confirm that there are both public and private messages being directly delivered to the Iranians in multiple channels, giving them every opportunity to come to the table. They understand precisely what the American position is, precisely what steps they can take to allow for peace, and we hope they do so. Yes.
The president may not want an open-ended conflict. The Iranians may disagree. Are you prepared for a protracted war?
Well, anything can happen in conflict. We acknowledge that. But the scope of this was intentionally limited. That's the message that we're sending. With the capabilities of the American military nearly unlimited.
What's wrong?
So Iran, in that sense, has a choice. But we've made it very clear to them, this is nuclear sites, this is nuclear capabilities.
The reason they had to do the meeting this early is because Pete was too drunk last night.
Yeah, he's a functioning alcoholic. He gets up real early so he can start at 12.
Now is the time to come forward for peace, but I think one of the takeaways from this as well is the unprecedented level of ongoing cooperation. I can't speak highly enough of the chairman and his staff and General Kurilla in CENTCOM, what they've done to look around the corner, to pre-position, to understand how an operation like this comes together. The scope and scale of what occurred last night would take the breath away of almost any American if you had an opportunity to watch it in real time. And I think Tehran is certainly calculating the reality that planes flew from the middle of America in Missouri overnight, completely undetected over 3 of their most highly sensitive sites, and we were able to destroy nuclear capabilities, and our boys in those bombers are on their way home right now. We believe that'll have a clear psychological impact on how they view the future, and we certainly hope they take the path of negotiated peace. But I could not be more proud of how this building operated, of the precision, the sensitivity, and the professionalism of the troops involved in this effort. I will take one more. We'll take one more question. Yes, right there.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Concerning the justification for these strikes, in March, the Office of the Director of National Intelligence released their threat assessment, concluding, quote, Iran is not building a nuclear weapon, and Khamenei has not authorized the nuclear programs he suspended in 2003, unquote. So what new intelligence does the U.S. have since then that the Iranians have changed their position on nuclear weapons? And does this new intelligence come from U.S. sources and methods, or are we getting this information from other countries?
Well, I would just simply say that the president's made it very clear. he's looked at all of this, all of the intelligence, all of the information, and come to the conclusion that the Iranian nuclear program is a threat, and was willing to take this precision operation to neutralize that threat in order to advance American national interests and reduce the Iranian nuclear program, and obviously collective self-defense of ourselves and our allies. So he looked at all of it, understood the nature of the threat,
You're acting on behalf
and took bold
of Israel.
action I think the American people would expect in a commander-in-chief.
There is zero American interest in the Middle East.
That's all we've got. Thank you very much. Appreciate it, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, they're not going to answer your fucking questions while they're walking away, you doofus. What?
Just calling him a doofus is funny.
Alright, I'm fucking tired. I'm going to bed. Alright?
Yeah, I'm extracting.
What are you going to do?
Well, I'm extracting in a few seconds here.
Okay.
2 minutes left.
Guess we'll watch this for a little bit. I almost did the party without inviting Miranda again. Tali's not coming because she's dead. Bane's dead too, but I think he was dead regardless.
No, don't reload here, you idiot.
What a fool.
I couldn't climb the rock.
Sounds like a you problem.
It was.
Fuck off, Cerberus.
Democracy has landed. Support weapon inbound.
I put the magazine upgrade on the M7 Lancer. So good. Wob wob wob. Also, I didn't realize that the N7 Eagle was automatic pistol.
That's why it's not great with the squad mate. It's fine, but there's better.
Well, I'm finding that I don't really use the pistols, so having an automatic pistol might actually make me use it.
I like the Eagle.
Well, most of the guns that you say you like, I like as well, so...
Yeah, I like the Lancer too, I just don't use it.
I was playing around with the upgrades, and by far having the magazine upgrade means I never overload it, which is fucking great.
Yeah, you put the double mag upgrade, so you fucking get Inferno ammo with the mag upgrade, and it's a great caster gun. I actually played through Insanity with it.
That's what I'm currently
doing at
the moment.
It's always cooling down. And
Because
regenerating
I've got-
the ammo by the time
Yeah.
your powers are ready to go again.
Yeah, so what I find that I'm taking Javik and James a lot while I'm playing as an adept. It just seems to work. It's a lot of fucking explosions and it's a lot of fun. Going with plan. Good plan. Okay, we're back. Okay. Cool, cool. Love democracy's taste. Tastes like boots. Or Shepherd. My father. It's run by my father.
Look at him suffering.
He just wants his father. That's to hit the water pump.
Enemy artillery's still up? How?
Magic.
Thought I got the artillery.
Guess not, nerd.
Warning, you are in range of enemy artillery. Objective critical stratagem available. Enemy tactical asset within threat range. Warning, you are in range of enemy artillery. Orbital inbound! Calling in reinforcements! Request approved. ETA T-minus 10 seconds.
Joining the fray.
Sending in an eagle!
Dropping a pin. Southeast, 200 meters.
Reinforcing!
Please don't be a dumb reinforcement like before. Thank you. I was literally in the artillery field and I got rezzed as far away as possible.
Seriously? That's
Yeah.
great. Gotta love that.
I have fucking seeker grenades, brother. I could have just been thrown right back on it. Fuck you. I just survived an ultimatum shot to the ground.
How?
I don't know.
That's fucking crazy. They always kill you. What the fuck?
That time it didn't.
Very strange.
The Pelican's all fucked up because it landed on this structure. So it's, see that?
Yeah, that's funny.
Pelican 1 beginning ascent. Today you carved another foot in a long climb to
Regards. Regards.
Easy peasy, just like bombing Iran. I thought I already got the artillery. Aye, but you. What about second artillery?
Don't know about that.
Okay, end it.
Okay. Goodbye, everybody.
Sakata, you're still standing there bewildered.